Well, thank God it's Friday. I'm excited. Plus, I love it when it rains. Unfortunately, when it rains in our country, sadly, somewhere will be flooded. And so if you're watching me this morning and you're not out yet, I just want you to put your notice that it is raining and a very wet morning. Be careful out there. If you have the usual route that is usually flooded, if you're headed to work in the morning, you might have to look out for another option. But thank God it's Friday. My name is Emefa, Akosua, Adeti. You've been an amazing audience all week. This is the best breakfast show on television in the whole wide world. And surely you must have seen me in my branded shirt this morning. Yes, later tonight at the Livelihood beach, we are awarding or rewarding very deserving personalities in our communities and in our societies who have been looking and providing the real service and care for people who genuinely need it in our community. Impact Makers Awards. You want to look out for that later today. I'll tell you more. But this Friday, we begin with growing concerns over free speech, political intolerance, and the use of state power. The opposition New Patriotic Party is warning of retaliation should it regain power, accusing the government of targeting party officials and activists through arrests and what it described as political harassment. And the party is also calling on Ghanaians to speak up, insisting the country's democratic space must not be allowed to shrink. But are these concerns justified or simply part of the heated politics ahead of the next election cycle? We'll try and find some answers to that question. We'll also discuss a developing case involving the Asante Achim North MP, Ohene Kwame Frimpong, who was arrested at Amsterdam airport. The basis on warrants issued by authorities believed from the United States while en route to the UK. Now the MP remains in detention in the Netherlands and could face extradition to the US, with his lawyers preparing for what we like to think would be an expected prolonged legal battle. But of course, it's not the first time this is happening in Ghana. We'll talk about the precedents, and we'll talk about what that means to Parliament and also the members of his constituency. Also this morning, debate is going over proposals over the Takwa concession currently operated by Goldfields to be handed over to indigenous Ghanaian firms when the lease expires. While supporters say the move could deepen local participation in mining, concerns are as well being raised about investor confidence and whether local firms have the capacity, as in like the macho, to manage such large-scale operations. Well, that's on our desk. Hopefully we have some time to discuss Ghana recording a 7.7% economic growth rate according to Ghana Statistical Service. Many citizens continue to question whether those gains are being felt in their daily lives. So, are Ghanaians truly better off today? You will be the better judge. You have the best answer. And so I'd like you to join the conversation by telling me what you feel about the economy via all of our social media platforms. I definitely would love to read and take your comments. Now, joining us this morning for all of these discussions, Professor Isaac Boedi is Dean of Accounting and Finance at the University of Professional Studies here in Accra. Kojo Jr. is a lawyer and member of the NPP communications team. And as well, Julius Kwame Anthony is press secretary at the Ministry for the Interior. And Andrew Appiah-Dankwa is director of legal and constitutional affairs for the United Party. It promises to be a great Friday. Thank God that we're blessed to see another Friday. Stay with us. All of this will come up only until Denisia brings us the news update. So please stay. midday, the day has spoken, stories have broken, events have unfolded.
We call on governments and cocoa board to pay our cocoa farmers immediately.
Now it's time to take stock. This is Joy News Today. As it happens, as it matters to you, from Accra to every region, from Parliament to the courts, our correspondents are on the beat, bringing you the latest developments, verified facts, and the context behind the headlines.
This authority is not going to be job for the men. This authority will not affect the suffering unemployed youth.
On Joy News Today, there are no fragments of speculation, but a clear picture of where the country stands right now.
Because of Galamsey, Ghanaians voted against NPP for NDC to come and do better. But the better now, no, and
so you can stay informed, stay connected, and stay ahead. Joy News Today on Joy News. Independent, fearless, and credible.
Hello, good morning, and welcome aboard to the AM News. My name is Tenisi Apomaje. In our very first story, the General Officer Commanding of the Northern Command of the Ghana Armed Forces, Brigadier General Wolanyo Agbebu, has officially launched Exercise Storm Shield 2026 at Bazua in the Binduri district of the Upper East region. The exercise is part of efforts to strengthen the combat readiness of security personnel against violent extremism and terrorism. Correspondent Albert Sorry reports.
The two-week military exercise organized by the Ghana Armed Forces in collaboration with the Ghana Navy and the Ghana Air Force is being held under the theme Countering Violent Extremism and Terrorism for Sustainable Peace and Development. The exercise aims to enhance the operational capabilities of officers within the Northern and Central Command operational areas to effectively respond to emerging security threats within and beyond Ghana's borders. Addressing officers and personnel during the launch on Tuesday, General Officer Commanding GOC of the Northern Command of the Ghana Armed Forces, Brigadier General Wolanyo Agbebu, urged troops to demonstrate professionalism, resilience, and teamwork throughout the exercise.
This exercise comes at a period when the security dynamics within the West African sub-region continue to evolve rapidly and demand a high state of operational readiness, interoperability, and professionalism from our armed forces. We are going to employ other sister security services in their role only. They may not do the military work, they will do the police work, they will do the immigration work. Everybody will be employed in his or her professional role. The exercise is specifically designed to sharpen the operational effectiveness of all participating troops.
He noted that the exercise forms part of ongoing efforts by the Ghana Armed Forces to maintain a high level of preparedness in dealing with emerging security challenges, particularly threats linked to violent extremism in the sub-region.
The growing complexity of asymmetric threats, violence, extremism, transnational organized crime, and emerging security threats, challenges within the Sahel and continuous coastal states underscore the need for continuous realistic training and mission-oriented preparations. In counter-insurgency, the battle is won as much in the mind as it is on the ground. You must understand the terrain, understand the people, and separate the guilty from the innocent with zero room for error.
Also addressing the gathering, Command Operations Officer of the Northern Command, Colonel John Kwating, admonished officers and personnel to take the training seriously in order to sharpen their operational skills and improve coordination during security operations.
This environment will teach you to adapt, and once you survive here, you will be able to thrive in conditions that may initially seem impossible. As persons in uniform, learning to be content with what is available is not a sign of yielding to poor preparation. Rather, it is a foundational skill of survival that you must develop.
Exercise Storm Shield is expected to involve a series of tactical drills, field operations, and simulation exercises designed to test and improve the readiness of security personnel in responding to terrorism-related threats while ensuring sustainable peace and development in the country. Reporting for Joy News, Albert Sori, Bazua, Binduri District.
And the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Emilia Arthur, has issued a stern warning to premix fuel operators in Yeji, Pro-East, declaring that any sale of a Akufo gallon of premix fuel above the approved 200 Ghana cedis will result in immediate arrest and prosecution. She said this during her inland fisheries tour of the district. Correspondent Anna Sabit has more.
Those of Yeji are usually alive with the rhythm of paddles and the hope of a good catch. But recently, tension has been brewing not on the water but at the fuel pumps. Premix is the lifeblood of the fishing industry here. Without it, canoes don't move and families go hungry. But a new threat has emerged not from the lake's currents but from price hikes at the landing beaches.
Premix and Tekra, Yabu 550.
We are over 450 running after the same premix. The women folks are suffering. How to get this premix to go fishing and take care of our families is a huge problem. So we need you to come to our aid. Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Emilia Arthur, who is on a courtesy call to the community, delivered a blunt ultimatum that echoed across the lake. Her message was clear. The approved price for a 4 gallon of premix fuel remains 200 Ghana cedis and not a peso more.
Said they also ton premix and then a macatcher will say CI. Obia or
anyone who sells the premix above 200 cedis per 4 gallon has gone against the law. We urge the fisher folks to report them to the authorities for necessary action to be taken.
Sometimes it's a premix never no tanka no ebia and soon to do a was a woman and also say banana crata or was a
tanker do not also come with the 13,500 liters of premix. If it comes to less than that, don't sign the documents. Report the matter to us so we deal with the company. The The minister also addressed the recent delays in fuel supply, assuring the community that the government is committed to restoring regular supply. The Member of Parliament for Pro East, Emmanuel Kojo, doubled down on the warning. He added that tanker drivers caught in the act would face the same consequences.
It is a premise in a fantasia about why pay. Sa fantasia no, and it's a prices no. Yeah,
agree on the 200 Ghana cedis maximum.
200 cedis maximum.
It will help all of us, as some of us want to make too much money at the expense of the public. So we still urge you to report such individuals to ask for the right action to be taken. For the fishermen of Yeji, this warning is a welcome relief, but many are waiting to see if the words from Accra will translate into action on the ground. Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Yeji.
Now, Ghana's rural communities are under growing pressure as land insecurity, climate change, and the disruptive effects of illegal mining continue to threaten the livelihoods of farmers and fishers across the country. These challenges are gradually reshaping rural life and putting food production systems at risk. These concerns have been highlighted by a United Nations working group on the rights of peasants and rural workers, currently in Ghana on its first official visit, engaging government officials, civil society groups, and rural communities to assess conditions on the ground. There's more in the following report.
In rural communities, land is more than just a resource. It is life, identity, and survival. The UN is urging government to move beyond policy frameworks and focus on effective implementation, ensuring that rural communities are actively involved in decisions that affect their lives. African representative of the UN Working Group on the Rights of Peasants, Professor Uche Ofodie, says the focus must be on empowering rural communities through awareness, promoting their participation, and strengthening accountability in the protection of their rights.
Ghana has many institutions that seem to be manned with people that mean well, and really seem to be very genuinely in bringing about change. So the foundation is already there. There's a significant gap between law and policy on the one hand and the implementation on the other hand. Our goal is to put the spotlight on this group, get people to think about this group. Think about how she grows vegetables. She wakes up one day, there's galamsey, she goes to the river where she used to get water is now all brown. The enshrined right to land, productive resources, and meaningful participation are the very conditions upon which the livelihoods of Ghana's subsistence farming, pastoralism, and fishing depend.
Member of the UN Working Group on the Right of Peasants, Genevieve Savigny, also raised concerns about Ghana's evolving seed policy framework, warning that without proper safeguards, it could undermine traditional farming systems and restrict farmer-managed seed practices.
Start with the seed question. The government has stated its legal commitment to support traditional seed system through legislation and policy measures aimed at recognizing and strengthening farmer-managed seed networks. Yet, the smallholders' customary right to save, share, and use traditional seeds is increasingly constrained by recent seed reforms and market shifts that are biotechnology-focused. Farmers and civil society have raised specific concerns about the pending or implemented provisions that may limit access to non-certified local plants.
The UN team is calling for stronger protection of rural livelihoods in line with the UN Declaration on the Right of Peasants, stressing that while policies exist, the real challenge remains implementation and inclusion at the community level. Martha Sawabachi's report, read to you.
Now, there are courtrooms in parts of the Upper West region without judges, forcing judicial officers from Wa and Nadoli to travel long distances to hear cases. Upper West Regional Minister says the situation is delaying justice delivery across the region. He warns that even with a new regional court complex expected to be completed this year, the problem will persist without more judges, staff and vehicles. Rafiq Salam reports.
After 26 years of construction, the Upper West Regional Court Complex in Wa is nearing completion. Regional Minister Charles Wong-Opozun says only finishing work remains and the facility could open before the next legal year starts in October. But Charles Wong-Opozun warns the real bottleneck is people, not buildings. Tumo District Court has no judge, leaving cases from the Sisala area stalled. Suspects can be tried within the required period unless sent to Wa, and when the Wa judge travels to Tumu, poor roads and no official vehicle slow the process down.
Within the mandatory period, if they cannot bring them to Wa, for the nearest court from Sisala area to is Wa, then we have a difficulty in having the matters dealt with. So a lot of cases have stalled, and he has to take the judge in Wa to sometimes allocate some days in the week to go and sit and come back to the regional capital, which is a difficulty for him, especially at the district level. They don't give them vehicles.
Jiriba also has a difficulty currently. Nadoli has a judge and is very active. Lara has a circuit court but no judge. The new court complex will house 2 high courts and 3 circuit courts. Yet, Wa currently has just 1 high court judge. Charles Wong-Opozun says the region needs at least 2 more circuit court judges and 1 more high court judge immediately. He's also pushing for digitalization to cut delays and reduce corruption in the courts.
So as I said, the ultimate is the staffing. And then all of us, what we keep saying, that we should digitalize things to ensure that human rules are less in the judicial process, quote unquote, with the assumption that corruption will be better.
Parliament Judicial Committee says it is ready to act. Ranking member Bid Amwatazmazieden says the committee will take up the staffing and funding gaps when the budget is considered.
But the issue of staffing is very, very important. It's very, very important because without adequate staff, the judiciary as a judiciary cannot operate. They provide everything for the judges, the magistrates, and all those people. So their presence is very, very important.
Deputy ranking member and MP for Zabzugu question why furniture and finishing works are still incomplete at the Upper West Court Complex months after funds were released.
If he did use his money and we paid him, I don't see the reason why the place is still not finished. And so we want you to appeal to you to also stress to him that we want the place yesterday and not today.
The Judicial Parliamentary Committee, upon visiting the site, were not happy with the snail pace of work at the site by the contractor. A director of Project 7 Limited, contractors for the project, Simon Sowa, however, rejected claims that his company abandoned the project and misapplied funds, saying materials are on site and work has progressed since December. Mr. Sowa responded to the Judicial Committee of Parliament through this off-camera interview.
All those furnitures and those are those ones are specialized works, and those ones we don't produce them on site. You understand? We are going to put in swivel chairs, we are going to put in roasters. Once those dirty works, the things are done, those ones can come in one day, and then you fix them. So for we the contractor, I mean, we've even done more good to judicial service than what they came to put out to the public, which is very unfortunate.
The blunt truth is that the building may be ready, but without judges, staff, working vehicles, justice in the Upper West region risks remaining out of reach.
Reporting for J News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
let's do some business stories. The Ghana Chamber of Mines has rejected calls by the Institute of Economic Affairs, Ghana, to nationalize mining assets, warning that such a move could weaken investor confidence and threaten the long-term stability of Ghana's mining sector. Speaking at a media engagement, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, Ken Ashigbe, urged that the country should instead focus on strengthening regulation, improving transparency, and ensuring policy consistency to maximize value from its mineral resources.
The IEA were minded, they would realize the fact that when you talk about revenue that comes from mining, all of that does not come to government. There are costs that are involved in that. If the IEA were mindful of it, they would realize that when they come to the rent that comes of mining, government is currently getting 60%. You know, so when you read the IEA, did you see any data to support any of the things that were said? But you will get our statement. You will see the data, and we'll ask you to also go and see the publishers we pay. This is something we publish on an annual basis. And most of those data, you find them from public places, including the Bank of Ghana, the Ministry of Finance, GRA, and all of those. Those are data that are available. So that's the basis on which we believe that when we're shaping these policies, we do them. And not only that, we also would think that when you also want to go and take learning from other jurisdictions. So when they talk about the issues about owning, which examples are they giving us to follow? Which examples are they giving us to follow? So those are the things that we believe that we should reduce this discussion to. It should be fact-based. It should be evidence-based. It should take the history into consideration. It would have been interesting that when the IEA was talking, they tell us about the fact that this is not the first time we've done state-owned mining. We've done state-owned mining before. What was the annual production output when we were doing them? When we went into this particular model, what is it? Just do the delta between 283,000 ounces, 283,000 ounces, and 3 million ounces. Just give me what the difference is in percentage terms. And then would that support where they want us to go?
Also, the Ghana Shippers Authority has delayed the implementation of the revised container administrative charge to July 1, 2026, following concerns raised by stakeholders within the shipping and logistics industry over increasing port costs. Here's more.
The revised levy had initially been scheduled to take effect on May 1, but authorities say the postponement will create room for further consultations with shipping lines, freight forwarders, importers, exporters, and other industry players. In a public notice, the authority explained that the additional engagement period is intended to help develop a pricing structure that balances industry concerns with the need to maintain competitiveness within Ghana's trade and logistics sector. As part of interim measures, the Transport Minister has also directed the immediate enforcement of a temporary cap on the charge to help stabilize costs for businesses using the ports. Under the directive, the container administrative charge must not exceed 720 cedis per 20 food equivalent unit for both imports and exports. The decision is expected to provide some relief to businesses that have repeatedly complained about rising port-related fees and their effect on import and export operations. Industry operators have warned that rising administrative and logistics costs could undermine Ghana's competitiveness and place additional strain on businesses already facing high transport and supply chain expenses. The Ghana Shippers Authority further urged stakeholders to comply with the temporary arrangements while consultations continue ahead of the final determination expected later in July.
Well, that's it for business, but don't forget that the AM show is sponsored by Shield Silicone Paints from Azar Group, Syntex Pipes, and Time Herbal Mixture. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as we enjoy today's moments, remember to keep your body refreshed and your energy right with Fresh Drop Still Natural Mineral Water. Fresh Drop Still Natural Mineral Water is not just any water. It's natural and mineral rich that keeps you going. So whether you're dancing, cheering, networking, or simply enjoying the moment, Fresh Drop Still Natural Mineral Water helps you stay cool, refreshed, and fully present. So grab a bottle, available in 500 ml, 20-liter jars, and sachets. For bulk purchase or inquiries, call 055-2250-290. And that's it for the AM News. For more news, please do log on to myjournalline.com. My name is Denise Yapomaje. Up next is sports. Enjoy the rest of the show. Have a lovely Friday.
So should you, if you're dreaming, don't be afraid. And in the valleys, keep your head up high. Dare to dream with Puma drinks. Yeah, believe it, you can achieve. Oh yeah, clap your hands for the whole new vibe. Make me set the bliss. Oh yeah, come alive. Let me hear you.
Puma drinks, a whole new vibe. Another quality product from Casa Precon.
This advert is FDA approved.
Is your tech holding you back? Feeling lost in a maze of outdated gadgets? Relax. Come with me to Configure.
Magic. Now I've been international fashion designer. No more president talk matter bia. Coffee Ghana. Classing. Oh, number one.
At Compute Ghana, we don't just sell electronics, we transform your life. From office to home appliances and more, we have everything you need to step into the future.
Compute Ghana, classing kwa. Compute Ghana, number one.
Hi, now let me share my wildlife experience with you at Safari Valley Eco Park.
Welcome to Safari Valley Eco Park.
Our electric shuttle pulled up, and in no time, our tour began. We were surrounded by wildlife from the moment we entered the eco park. We were greeted by experienced tour guides who took us through orientation and how to better enjoy the experience. Watch these animals roam freely in their natural habitat undisturbed by our presence. We saw zebras, sable antelope, brown cranes, mara, silky chicken, nyalas, Shetland ponies, and so many animals I just couldn't keep up. Our tour guides taught us so much about the wildlife, their behavior, and how to interact with them. I even fed them. We also went fishing on a man-made canal. Then we took a break to have lunch in this serene environment. All this amazing experience for this price for adults, this price for teenagers. It's a bargain. As the sun began to set, it was time to go back home, but not before dinner by the campfire. It's been a thrill of a lifetime, and I can't wait till my next visit.
Safari Valley Eco Park, bringing you closer to nature.
Eko becho ake wobu noni wasumo be kume ejion shikenisa koni lahi sani akaba. Heba moje noni jiji oda ne eji tuebo alo tuefe mu kokobo ofe ni bibi je jale pena
lahi afaba fo jo shishinke jomino ake makwemi hino jodwan.
Good Conduct, Great Life is brought to you by
Indomie.
Tastes great.
More Kivo inside. Kivo Gari Soaking Mix. Taste of Ghana.
Welcome to Bryant University, which will play host to the Black Stars of Ghana during the period of the FIFA World Cup. Hey, who am I here with?
Jake. Welcome to Bryant University.
Thank you very much. So we are inside the Bryant University campus, a really beautiful university campus, and we will show off a couple of the things that are here, including the pitch, the dressing rooms, the facilities that the Black Stars will be using ahead of the World Cup. We're here. Let's go.
We're going to start our tour with the fitness center weight room for Team Ghana, and then we're going to go into the spaces that they'll be using by the pitch as well.
Okay, let's go.
So this is our weight room. Have a bunch of free weights, racks, turf for warming up and stretching. This would be when Team Ghana is using it. It would be only accessible to Team Ghana. So we would schedule it out so that Team Ghana is the only one in here at that time. And now we're going to make our way to the training room and then locker room spaces as well for Team Ghana. So we have treatment tables, taping tables, and then once we come back here, have an ice machine, bathroom, and then hot and cold tubs in here, so I could show you that. So after training, come in here, get some recovery, so a cold tub and a hot tub.
Amazing.
And then in here, we have our exam room for, team doctors, team physicians to look at someone, after training or whatnot, with a bunch of medical equipment as well.
What was the news like when it was announced that Team Ghana would be camping here? I bet Bryan University was all over the news.
Yes, we were very, very excited. We had a bunch of, teams visit, and we enjoyed everything we learned about Team Ghana. Yeah. And we were actually very happy that Ghana picked us as the site. We know they had, 70 different options they could choose from. So we were excited that, they chose us. Right. So in here is our where the kit manager would work out of. So a bunch of table space, 6 dryers, 4 washers, and it actually looks right out into the pitch, which we can go to now.
Okay. Oh, the laundry room leads onto the pitch.
Yes. Yep. Leads right onto the pitch. So this is the pitch that Team Ghana will be using. So it's their locker room's right in there too, which we're going to see in a minute. But it leads right into the training area, locker rooms, and whatnot. But feel free to.
Wow. Welcome to Bryan University's football field or soccer field. Look at how big it is. This is where the Black Stars of Ghana will train every single day for the FIFA World Cup.
I'm Chris Merritt. I'm a psychology major. I play on the Brightman soccer team here. This is where we practice on our grass fields. We prepare here. We prepare for games against opponents that play on grass. So I think that the Ghanaian team is going to enjoy this a lot. It'll be a really good opportunity to get the ball moving. So
after training, after Team Ghana is done, we're going to head into the locker room area, which is right through these doors. Yeah. Here's the locker room area. So there's 30 lockers, restroom area, and showers as well in the locker room. And then all lockers have cabinet space on the top with the lockable here, and then on the bottom as well. So a bunch of storage for all of their. So right in here is our soccer press box, which overlooks the pitch. So we have 2 rooms, a webcasting room and then a open room. So all of these windows open all the way out. So you're able to set up cameras, or if technical staff wants to watch practice, they're able to watch it.
The video analyst and coaches can sit up here.
So all these windows open all the way up.
And you're in.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And the pitch from up here.
So now we're going to walk into our black and gold area, which we use for all of our athletic events on this stadium. We have a bunch of banquets in here, but this will be accessible to Team Ghana for, team meals if they wanted to do any team meals or meetings. Yeah. We have 3 screens that you could hook up to and watch something while you eat or have a staff meeting or whatnot. And then now we're going to walk into our film room, which is where we would assume Team Ghana would, watch film as a team and potentially have some media in there as well, depending on the size.
Oh, wow. Oh, so they can even use this room for tactical meeting.
Yep. So we have 3 projectors, a bunch of speakers, and then 142 seats. So all of our teams use this for team meetings, video review, and whatnot. So would be available to Team Ghana. Now we're going to go to the 3rd floor. 3rd floor, we have office spaces and other team meeting areas that Team Ghana would be able to use if they want.
How long have you been working here?
I've been here since 2017. So I was a student for 4 years, and then I did an internship for 1 year, and I've been full-time since then. So it's been about 4 years full-time.
Do you love it being here? Are you from Rhode Island?
Originally from New Jersey, but been living here since school. So the last 8 years.
Amazing stuff.
Yes.
You're basically now an islander.
Yeah, I'm a Rhode Islander now. So this is our 3rd floor level press area for our stadium, but all of this space would be available to the coaches, players, and to host team meetings. So we have spaces here and a kind of a tiered classroom set up here for media or coaches to work out of.
But originally, is this supposed to be like a media working area?
It's one of the options, but I'll show you we have another building that will be a media area as well.
After every training session, or during the training sessions, obviously, as you know, the first 15 minutes is open to the media, which means that for most of the time, the media will not get to be watching the Black Stars train. But here at Bryan University, they have created a media center where the media can come in, sit down and file reports and do all of those things after the first 15 minutes of access to the team. Let's go check it out.
This is our Academic Innovation Center. This is the media area that we would have. It's actually kind of set up for a press conference where we have a stage, a podium, and a bunch of chairs with the camera in the back. So this is kind of what setup would look like. We're obviously cleaning up the event, but it could hold, a big media presence. Have a board up top and a board back below for, a Team Ghana logo or something like that. And we also have a bunch of smaller classroom areas all around that would be available for smaller breakout sessions and whatnot. So this would be a media center for Team Ghana and for the local and media from Ghana.
My coach was literally after practice my morning, and it was like, I heard Ghana might be coming here, this is right after practice. So he was just the feeling was just unbelievable, Bryan has been home to me, and having the Team Ghana come here is like home coming to my new home here. So it was just amazing.
I'm excited. I'm very excited. I have a couple of teammates that are Ghanaians, and they're personally excited as well. I just think it's good exposure for the campus and for the university as well, and just for soccer as a whole in America. So hopefully people are able to come out sometimes and they're able to have open public practices where people can see the high level that they're bringing to the world.
I'm hoping, with the team coming here, the school has been very nice to meet Jake and everyone else has been very nice to meet Jake, get me involved with everything. So I'm going to be here with the team, helping any way that I can, and hopefully I can get take it to one or two games and just connect with
it. So we've concluded our tour of this brilliant university, Bryan University, aptly named. Jake, thank you so much.
Of course.
For your kindness.
Happy to provide a tour today.
Yes, for showing me around. I love everything that I've seen here. And I hope that Team Ghana and the Black Stars will love everything that's here. And hopefully that serves as a propeller for a greater performance for the team. Certainly, I have nothing to complain about. And I don't think the team will have much really to complain about as far as the facilities here are concerned. The people are warm, very kind, very hospitable. And I think any Ghanaian that is traveling up here, whether to watch the team train or just to engage the people in this community, we're in for a treat, because certainly everything here looks prim and proper. I've enjoyed my time. I've enjoyed the tour. And I hope you've enjoyed the tour too on this leg of Destination 2026 here on Joy Sports. I'm Fentio, Tahiru Fentio. We'll catch you on another episode of Destination 2026 where we can show you something exciting ahead of the FIFA World Cup in America, the USA, Canada, and of course, Mexico. Jake?
Now let me share my wildlife experience with you at Safari Valley Eco Park.
Welcome to Safari Valley Eco Park.
Our electric shuttle pulled up, and in no time our tour began. We were surrounded by wildlife from the moment we entered the eco park. We were greeted by experienced tour guides who took us through orientation and how to better enjoy the experience. Watch these animals roam freely in their natural habitat undisturbed by our presence. We saw zebras, sable antelope, brown cranes, mara, silky chicken, nyalas, Shetland ponies, and so many animals I just couldn't keep up. Our tour guides taught us so much about the wildlife, their behavior, and how to interact with them. I even fed them. We also went fishing on a man-made canal. Then we took a break to have lunch in this serene environment. All this amazing experience for this price for adults? This price for teenagers. It's a bargain. As the sun began to set, it was time to go back home, but not before dinner by the campfire. It has been a thrill of a lifetime, and I can't wait till my next visit.
Safari Valley Eco Park, bringing you closer to nature.
Cadbury hot chocolate, crafted from cocoa, milk, and sugar. Creamy, chocolatey, frothy goodness, rich taste, so satisfying.
Cadbury goodness, the treats you deserve every day.
Another week is here on the greatest of all time show. My name is Giovanni Clip, and tonight we're bringing you talent. Contestant number one, let's bring baby girl. Let's bring. You did it for you.
Cut. Oh, there is a leakage.
Where's the plumber? For quality and durability, insist on Syntex pipes.
If you want quality, this be where you belong.
Strong, tough, and reliable. Your perfect match to your trusted Syntex pipe. Syntex pipe, it dey carry water, no wahala. Syntex pipe, it dey make water dey flow. Syntex, and you're strong, and you're tough.
Hello there again. Let's bring you some business news. Today on AM Business, fishing communities along Ghana's coast are facing growing uncertainty as climate change, illegal fishing, and declining fish stocks threaten livelihoods. From Teshi to Pram, fishermen say unpredictable weather patterns, longer fishing trips and poor catches are making survival increasingly difficult, while experts warn that the situation could worsen without urgent intervention. James has more in this feature.
It's 4 p.m. here in Teshi. After more than 15 hours at sea, Emmanuel Mati, a fisherman, and Ernest Notti, also a fisherman, returned to shore, tired, frustrated, and empty-handed. For generations, the sea has been a reliable source of livelihood for coastal communities across Ghana. But today, that lifeline is becoming increasingly uncertain. Emmanuel has been fishing for 8 years. Originally from Pram, he now travels to Teshi in search of fish, an indication of how unpredictable the ocean has become.
Emmanuel Matekode, me free Pram. Oh, I check a crowd to say 8 years. 8 years. Me started in Pojuma. And in Pojuma no me started no. That time no namu. That time Akufo-Addo the type namu papa.
My name is Emmanuel Mati. I am from Pram and have been fishing for 8 years. When we started, there was plenty of fish, but the situation is very different now. Fishing has become very difficult. Those days, we did not have to go too far before getting fish, but now that is no longer the case.
Fishing seasons that were once dependable are no longer reliable. August, traditionally a peak period for abundant catches, no longer guarantees results.
Sometimes, say so bad, so person toa. Now what I know so, why did the end that time no yentimin compo. What I know about to change even who or fee yentimin call.
The weather pattern is no longer consistent these days, and it is affecting us badly.
Say a compana, you bet me shan one punu, by say namu you bet me then yedi kaka.
For Ernest Notti, a fisherman with 12 years of experience, fishing is more than a job, it is a way of life passed down through generations. He began fishing with his parents and has depended on the sea ever since. But survival now comes at a greater cost.
First, time me go school, me school, me come fish. One china pa petrol su ukopa utumu to petrol for the cup.
When I was in school and went fishing, we used to catch so many fish. September and December were very good months for fishing, but now it is a different story.
September only offense. December, fish wapa. So you go anu ya not muguma, ya tumu share your mama 3. And you to 1 billion, 2 billion a day.
You can buy fuel worth 2,000 cedis and return home with empty nets. We used to catch all kinds of fish, but many factors are now affecting us.
What petrol bed say 3,000. Different time
Fishermen like Ernest are traveling further distances, sometimes as far as Axim in the western region, and even beyond Ghana's border to Ivory Coast, Guinea, and Liberia in search of fish. These journeys can take 1 to 2 weeks at sea, yet returns continue to decline.
Sometimes I think we are for the stock body. Axim, like I said, I'm going on boy, I top it over there for 10,000.
Nti mu fie kwa agreement we di how many days?
To be better 4 days. 4 days for so you should not do better. Na mu ni ho.
Ukoto go ina.
You got to go ina.
Then I'm on the track like.
We now travel as far as Takrady, Axim, and even Ivory Coast in search of fish because of the changes in weather and other factors. In search of fish because of the changes in weather and other factors. Sometimes we spend more than 4 days at sea. We have our own ways of maneuvering during the search. The Chinese are also using big trawlers, and that is affecting us.
Because China for mu self no pa. Sometimes we see lati ma China for tuna first titi no sisi ma yakọ sisi ayakọ tuna na opoku.
He attributes parts of the problem to illegal fishing practices, including the use of chemicals by some foreign operators, which he says is damaging marine life. The financial strain is also increasing. Many fishermen take loans to purchase premix fuel, but poor catches make repayment difficult. After more than a decade in the space, Ernest Note is now considering leaving fishing altogether and transitioning into tiling as the returns from fishing continue to diminish.
Sometimes we can go for more than 5 months without any good catch. I want to stop fishing and go into Thailand because at least that is a skill I can rely on. Fishing has become very stressful and dangerous now.
Because fishing I feel chop body from go school. They chop body go school.
Well, not a pleasant experience here in Teshi, where I find myself in one of the canoes here. I've been trying to, speak to these fisher folks here. I mean, they've been raising a lot of concerns, and one of the key concerns had to do with climate change and its impact on their operations. For want of a better word, you could say activities. Yeah, I spoke to quite a number of them who actually came all the way from other places to Teshi here, all in the name of searching for fish around this particular area. When you speak to them, there have been some changes with respect to, the timing with which they catch certain fishes, and it's something they're trying to get their heads around it. It's quite tough.
An agriculture economist, Dr. Shaibu Bani Azuma, explains that global warming is having a significant impact on fish stocks. According to him, rising temperatures are reducing the ability of fishermen to catch fish and are forcing marine species to migrate.
So currently we are experiencing some global warming, and what that means is that there will be temperature level rising, and for that matter, when the sea increasingly is getting hotter, there will be expansion of water bodies. And of course, at the coast, you will see people who used to be very close to the sea lines are now having to move away because of the expansion of the sea levels that is affecting them and their livelihoods along the coast. There is. When we were children, there was a lot of harvest. Not only in the sea, but also in the rivers just closer to our homes. Today, there's evidence of declining fish level. In fact, some statistics put it at about 7%, others just between 6 to 7% in terms of the decline in fish level of production. And why is this so? It's because of the temperature rise that we are finding. That scientifically is also linked to the level of oxygen within the sea that produces a lot of the fish that we have.
What these communities are experiencing reflect a broader environmental shift. Thomas Sowa is a 25-year-old fisherman who represents a younger generation facing an uncertain future. According to him, fishing seasons are no longer predictable and catches are significantly lower than before. He notes that climate change is affecting their ability to catch enough fish to sustain their livelihoods. Environmental pollution is also contributing to the challenge. During periods of heavy rainfall, waste is washed into the sea, leaving fishermen to retrieve debris instead of fish.
Luanya ba kone ule me femini e na no go especially when they ready for I'm a cheer joy of your men e wo no me ofin ya sure direct oga tenu wa me ya joy je no ni wo fi o men rubbish.
The climate is changing, so we are not able to catch the amount of fish we need to make a living. When it rains, waste is washed into the sea. So instead of fish, we end up harvesting rubbish. The dry season has also lasted longer than usual. Honestly, if I find another job, I will stop fishing because I'm not gaining anything from it. My future is at stake. Fishing is not easy anymore. It is not as profitable as it used to be.
Nina 25 years. 50 years here.
Florence, a fishmonger, is also experiencing the effect of declining fish stocks. With fewer fish available, her business is struggling, affecting her income and ability to support her household. For many women involved in fish processing and trading, the decline in fish supply is directly linked to their economic survival.
I'm Florence. I am Florence, and it has not been easy for us as fishmongers. We hear that some fishermen use light for fishing, and it is destroying our work. The weather is already not stable, so they struggle to get enough fish for us, and it is affecting us badly. We are urging people to stop using light for fishing, especially when the weather is favorable. The fishermen are already struggling, and when conditions improve, others use light, which makes things even worse for all of us.
Fisheries scientist and aquaculture professional at the University of Education, Winneba, Dr. Jemima Etonam Kasa, highlights the scientific basis of these changes.
Yes, I would say that there is considerable evidence which has been able to link climate change as well as rising temperatures to declining fish stocks. However, I must add that this is not a straitjacket or a blanket consequence, because what is actually happening is that while climate change and global warming impacts are contributing to decline of fish stocks, there are certain species which are actually also having an advantage, where because of their physiology and their life processes, they need warmer temperatures to thrive.
When combined with overfishing and pollution, these pressures significantly worsen the situation. Compared to 10 to 20 years ago, the changes are more pronounced, and without intervention, fish stocks are expected to decline further in the future. At the policy level, authorities acknowledge the growing challenge. Deputy Executive Director in charge of Technical Services at the Fisheries Commission, Professor Abiche Siedu, says climate change is significantly reshaping Ghana's fishing industry.
Yes, I mean, climate change is an environmental factor. We realize that the human-induced aspect of climate change is on the higher side. So all the things that we do, in the, contributing, driving old cars, the temperature or the heat that we generate, all these things change the rainfall patterns, cutting of trees, and that sort of thing. So as a commission, we have a climate change unit, and generally, there have been low education, as far as climate change is concerned. So we are doing a lot of education, sensitization among the fisher folks, to know the impact or to realize that this is what is actually happening.
For non-governmental organizations like the Global Fisheries and Resilience Action, collaboration is critical to addressing these challenges. Okwet Segbo is the country director of the Global Fisheries and Resilience Action, and he emphasizes the need for stronger engagement between government and stakeholders.
A majority of them are human-induced factors that we are not expecting only the fisheries, the people within the fishery space to address. It is something that requires every Ghanaian taking all the actions to reduce the impact that we have within the space. And I think that is the main way we can address it. It shouldn't be fisheries centered.
Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture, Emilia Alpha says government is committed to implementing reforms within the sector to ensure sustainability and improve livelihood.
We have a shortage of fish production in this country. The demand of fish is 1.2 million metric tons a year for us to eat, to cover the 60% animal protein that comes from fish. The rate of depletion is frightening. Some of it is natural. I mean, when I say natural, I mean climate change impact. Some of it, and a lot of it, is human action, human activity. The illegal fishing methods that some of the fishermen are using across the different subsectors, across the different fleet, like light fishing, using DDT, blasting the habitat of the fish.
But for fishermen like Emmanuel Mate, Ernest Norte, and Akosua, the crisis is no longer a distant concern. It is their daily reality. An ocean that once provided abundance is now unpredictable. A livelihood that once sustained families is now uncertain. And the future that once seemed secure is now at risk. These fishermen say if urgent action is not taken, Ghana's coastal communities may lose more than just fish. They may lose a way of life. Reporting for Joy News, James Ishen.
Changing, so should you. If you're dreaming, don't be afraid. And in the valleys, keep your head up high. Dare to dream with Puma drinks. Yeah, believe it, you can achieve. Oh yeah, clap your hands for the whole new vibe. Make we set the bliss. Oh yeah, come alive. Let me hear you.
Puma Drinks, a whole new vibe. Another quality product from Casa Precon.
This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome to Sulas Enterprise, the shop that deals in industrial machinery such as generators, rice millers, water pumps, compressors, and mowers. From the smallest to the largest capacity, at Sulas Enterprise, we give you nothing but the best from the best brands such as Honda and Perkins. When it comes to our generators, we also sell mowers coming from brands like Honda, Briggs and Straton, and Oleuma. And when it comes to our water pumps, we offer you brands like Lily, and Pedrolo water pumps. We also sell rice millers for all capacities. We are located at Spintex, Kakalika Plaza. Also, find our various locations as displayed on screen. Or call us on the following numbers: 0243-839-463 or 0554-154-416 or 0240-541-493.
Sulas Enterprise, where quality meets affordability.
Hi, now let me share my wildlife experience with you at Safari Valley Eco Park.
Welcome to Safari Valley Eco Park.
Our electric shuttle pulled up, and in no time our tour began. We were surrounded by wildlife from the moment we entered the eco park. We were greeted by experienced tour guides who took us through orientation and how to better enjoy the experience. Watch these animals roam freely in their natural habitat, undisturbed by our presence. We saw zebras, sable antelope, brown crane, mara, silky chicken, nyalas, Shetland ponies, and so many animals I just couldn't keep up. Our tour guides taught us so much about the wildlife, their behavior, and how to interact with them. I even fed them. We also went fishing on a man-made canal. Then we took a break to have lunch in this serene environment. All this amazing experience for this price for adults? This price for teenagers. It's a fun game. As the sun began to set, it was time to go back home, but not before dinner by the campfire. It has been a thrill of a lifetime, and I can't wait till my next visit.
Safari Valley Eco Park, bringing you closer to nature.
Everything has meaning, but not everything is as it seems. For every story told, there are versions of the truth.
You can't afford to look at this, the numbers that have been presented, and say they are tired. It's the same old issue. No, somebody should be prosecuted.
Every opinion can be debated. Every claim can be challenged. Even the idea of the national interest can and must be interrogated.
This is the date it was. This was the date it was printed from the system.
That is what
What is he talking about?
Because sometimes the real facts are buried deep within layers of interpretation. So we ask the harder questions. We test every claim. We raise the standard of public discourse and place every issue on the altar of unbiased scrutiny. This is Newsfile, your most authoritative news analysis platform. And here on Newsfile, we put Ghana first.
We stand beneath it. What are you doing?
Newsfile with Samson Ladi and Yanini. On Joy News, independent, fearless, and credible.
Ghana Police Service is facing potential legal action from artist Ibrahim Muhammad.
He and his team were attacked by members of the Black Maria.
It's all over Ghana that a diplomat has been beaten to pulp.
Ibrahim Muhammad is a peaceful citizen. If you do this to him, what will happen to some of us?
That DSP Jalil is a dangerous human being.
He's a controversial person within the police service, and every policeman can attest to that.
One of the police officers saw me, and I could see a sense of caution and fear on his face. He went to them and he said, "Do you know who that is?" I said, "That's Ibrahim, the guy that the president gave the diplomatic status." And then he said, "Oh, and so what?" These people, they really don't care about any of these things. They are just power drunk.
The graph that you have for me, do all these things for me, and you won't turn back to me. Okay?
The first thing was a punch in my face, and one of my teeth got broken immediately.
I was really assaulted by the police today. You can see how they broke my tooth.
There's data we collected from 2016 till now. There's been 9 police brutalities. Guess what? Not even one person has been convicted. Do you believe you're going to get justice?
My whole adult life, I never cried before. When this thing happened, that was the next time I cried in my life. Why?
Hello there. So did I tell you that I'm excited? Today's Friday. Yes, I did. I'm really, really excited. Yeah, the weekend is here. You've been an amazing audience. Let's wrap the week quite well. So, I'll start with the newspapers. I'll just bring you the headlines. The Ghanaian publisher this morning is reporting how the minority leader says NDC policies killing local firms. Story is on page 2 of the Ghanaian publisher. Here's an update on Wuntumi's trial. Verbal deals can't transfer mining rights. Defense witness tells court. Story is on page 3 if you're interested. And Dr. Bawumia slams security crackdown on NPP. Story as well is on page 3. RNAQ's wife seek asset freeze. Story is on page 5. Now, the story has my attention. Kusali loses only nurse in tragic motor accident. Story is on page 3. I was just looking at it. So there's only one CHIPS compound in that community, and it's actually manned and headed by Madame Nafisa Adama, a 32-year-old nurse who unfortunately has lost her life, and so that community as well loses that only nurse that's been catering to them. This is a news story that's just been reported by the Ghana News Agency, and I like to think the health minister will look at the condolences to the family of this nurse. Maybe you want to look at that CHIPS compound again and send a nurse over there. The custodian this morning, you'll account for your deeds. Bawumia wants power drunk state actors. That's how the custodian is reporting it this morning. Apenyo marking scolds government over anti-farmers policy. Story is on page 3. Anna Dompre also has been weighing that and says that revive Ghana's dying economy. The story is on page 2 of the custodian. Quickly, I'll take you to the overseer. Bawumia and JFK stop buying and co. Okay, from embarking on thank you tour. This looks like an allegation. If you're interested, it's on page 3 of the overseer. And NHIA suspends paramedic Deldum farmer and Dash chemist over irregularities. And I think this is payment of claims. Story is on page 3. As well, NDC Women's Wing accuses Swami MC of nepotism, neglect, and party members. The overseer is reporting that. Okay, this one also has my attention. Woman butchers husband over charcoal money dispute. Yeah, times are really, really interesting. Story is on page 4 of the overseer. The news center as well. Don't renew Takwa lease. IEA pushes for full Ghanaian control of Goldfields mine after April 2027. You know that they've been seeking a renewal of their lease, and the IEA, fully headed by the former Chief Justice Sophia Akufo, has said that, well, we should rather neutralize our natural resources. It's on our desk this morning. We'll discuss that. And then I'm going to bring you the daily graphic. SHS double track ends in 2027 with 50 SHS to be upgraded. The president has been giving some assurances. 61,506 candidates to sit for CT vet examination. Story is on page 13. The Daily Graphic as well has reported on how IEA is urging the government to reject Goldfields lease extension for Takwa mines as well. And MTN Ghana marks 30 years of service. Story is on page 20. And finally, the Daily Guide this morning. MP's arrest in Amsterdam, FBI issued warrant in April. Majority has been providing some clarity. RNAQ's wife is in the news as well, hoping to stop the sale of some properties whilst the case continues. Bawumia positions NPP youth for 2028 victory. And here's an update as well on the Dr. Sledge matter and Iyoko. Iyoko detains Dr. Sledge's wife over myth probe. Story is on page 6 of the the Daily Guide. I think I brought you the Ghanaian publisher. That's how we started. So this morning, we're going to talk about the challenge that the NPP says they have with the state security apparatus, first of all, and then we'll go into matters arising about the MP as well, who has been detained. The lawyers are going to have a long journey in making a case to resist that extradition request that suspected to have come from the U.S. You also have seen that there's an upgrade in our economy. Well, 7.7%. Prof. Wade is here. We'll look at that which sector is benefiting most? Is it creating a wider gap between the rich and the poor? Agriculture seems to have recorded a lower rate, some sort of a decrease. We'll look at that as well. Okay, let me introduce my guest. Professor Boedi is Head of Accounting and Finance at the University of Professional Studies here in Accra. Professor Isaac Boedi, Executive Director, Institute of Economic Research and Public Policy. Julius Kwame Anthony is Press Secretary at the Ministry for the Interior, and Andrew Apia Dankwa, Director of Legal and Constitutional Affairs for the United Party, and Kwesi Butcher Jr. is a lawyer and member of the NPP communications team. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Quite raining. How did you guys navigate to get here? Was it cool?
I go quietly.
Yeah, so you dodged the rain. Yeah. Prof, how have you been as well?
Well, when it starts raining like this, you need to set off early. To your various appointments.
Yeah. The rain is good sometimes and the rain is bad sometimes. Yeah.
In Accra, we go through a lot of issues.
Yeah. Every day there's a rain, we discuss floods. We do. Unfortunately. Yeah. Lawyer, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm doing very well.
Good to have you back.
Yeah.
It
was a pleasure.
Okay. This is your party color.
Really?
Blue, is it not?
Yeah, blue is a very beautiful color.
Yeah. Are you a Chelsea fan?
I know blue is one of your favorite
colors. Are you a Chelsea fan?
I'm not a Chelsea fan.
I think you should consider it. Blue is the color. Football is the game, yes.
Oh, I see.
Okay. Let's start with the challenge that the former vice president has been saying. And in fact, the NPP has been slamming security crackdown on the NPP. And Kwesi, I'm starting with you. We're starting with the Abronye matter and the matters arising. So a day ago, I saw that you made a post on your Facebook, and you said that, just so you know, Kwame Bafo Abronye was not arrested. He voluntarily appeared in court. However, Abronye was denied bail. He has been remanded into custody until the final determination of his case. This simply means that if the case lasts 5 years, he will be in custody for 5 years. It is also intriguing to know that the trial has not yet started. This is not remand. This is trial by intimidation, conviction before trial, abuse of process, and gross miscarriage of justice. What did you mean in very simple terms?
Good morning to you. Good morning to colleagues. Good morning to everybody watching us this morning. A special good morning to His Excellency Dr. Bawumia, the flag bearer and leader of the New Patriotic Party. He extends his regards to the good people of this country. Emefa, you see, there is something very troubling happening in this country. And I think that we all have to be bold and speak against it. And I am not saying this because it's Abronye. Yesterday, it was frantic comedy. A few days ago, it was Obama Pokwase. It was Okatachi Fifa. It was Alfred Adenta Kumi. Today, it is Abronye. Tomorrow, it might be Kwesi Butcher, it might be you, Emefa, it might be Prof, it might be Council. Obviously, it cannot be Julius because it's government is power. But what is happening today in this country is a threat to our democracy. It's a threat to the peace and stability we enjoy as a nation. You take the Abronye matter. If you look at the charge sheet before the court, the prosecution makes a very simple case. That the accused person, Kwame Bafo Abronye, who is a regional chairman of our party in the Bono region, made allegations against a judge by describing the Adenta High Court judge as being a politician and not a judge. And so in the mind of the prosecution, or in the mind of the Republic, the entire nation construes Abronye's statement to be a publication of false news. Abronye was arrested. We all recall he was detained. The minority leader and other members of the minority went to the police CID to secure his bail. He was arraigned before court. He voluntarily came to court. You know, my law firm is the firm representing Abronye.
Okay.
He voluntarily went to court. when the prosecution or when the court read out the charges against Abronya, he pleaded not guilty.
Which one of the charges?
Publication of false news.
First, okay.
Yes. In fact, both charges are connected together. Both charges are, founded on the publication of false news. His lawyers moved an application for bail. The prosecution opposed the application for bail on grounds that if Abronya is released, he will go back to his TV to continue the offense for which they have charged him with. And so they plead with the judge to remand him until the final determination of the matter. And the judge agreed with the prosecution and decided to remand Abronya. In fact, the judge initially remanded Abronya into prison custody. So the lawyers had to plead with the judge that this is a misdemeanor. And so the judge should remand him into NIB custody. And so that's how come Abronya got remanded into NIB custody. Ordinarily, he would have been in prison by now. And so, Emefa, this is where we are with the matter. Now, as to whether or not calling a judge a politician is a criminal offense in itself, it's another matter. But I would want to put this conversation into perspective. You take Section 208 of Act 29, which is our Criminal Offences and Other Offences Act of 1960. The law itself was not promulgated in 1960. It was promulgated in 1893. Okay? However, during the amendment of 1960, Parliament retained the 1893 provision of the Sedition Act. This law was promulgated by the British colony for one major reason: to suppress persons or proponents championing independence. That was the main rationale behind the promulgation of Section 208 of Act 29. That is the publication of false news. It was a law by the British. And in fact, if you look at the British, if you look at the colonies or the British colonies, the British were very smart to extend the laws to almost all their colonies. You go to Kenya, they had a similar law. However, their courts repealed the law sometime in 2001. You go to South Africa, they have a similar law which has been repealed. You go to Egypt, they have a similar law which has been repealed. You go to the Caribbean, Jamaica, Barbados, they all have similar laws which has been repealed. In fact, UK had a similar law, the Sedition Act, which has also been repealed some years ago. But here in Ghana today, we have a government that is using the law to intimidate and oppress decent opinion. I think that it is very unfortunate. I think that the weaponization of state institutions against members of the opposition is a serious threat to our democracy.
So there are two things I hear you say. Right. That there's a problem with the law, or the law is not fit for purpose.
No, I'm saying that the law is an outdated law.
One. Then
and the government of the day is misusing the law to intimidate political opponents. That's exactly what they are doing.
Okay, so what's really the challenge that the judge remanded him into custody because you think that the comments does not amount to criminality, or what's really the challenge with?
I think that
because I know that was already on bail.
I think no, that's a different matter.
That's the first one.
Yeah, that's the first one. I think that insulting somebody is not a criminal offense. The remedy for insulting somebody lies in a civil action, where the person feels injured or the person feels his reputation has been injured in the minds of right-thinking members of society. The person has every right to go to the civil court to sue you for defamation and seek compensation from the court. Insulting someone does not have any foundation in our criminal jurisprudence. It doesn't. Okay. In any case, this is not the first time a citizen of this country has described judges as being political. President Mahama himself, when he was in opposition, described or mentioned that President Akufo-Addo had packed the court with politically inclined and aligned judges. In fact, their party members or Julius Anthony's party members went ahead to describe the former CJ as Osono Mame
So what will you
as a women's organizer of the NDC,
what will you
did we arrest anybody for that?
What will you categorize that comment? That's a contempt of court?
Basically, you can say so, or to say that
it's defamatory.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And if the judge views it as attempting to put a certain impression on the judiciary, how do you anticipate
that would be
the
contempt.
judge would be contempt?
That would be contempt. And there's criminal contempt. The contempt laws or the Court Act allows the judiciary or a court to suo motu, that is by on its own motion, invite anybody or summon anybody the court feels has used derogatory words against the courts.
Okay. If you peel back, I'll come to the other. If you peel back in our history, in situations and cases where a judge has found somebody in contempt,
those are criminal matters.
And what has been, how has the court?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That there's the criminal contempt.
Okay.
But Abronya has not been charged for contempt. If Abronya was charged for contempt, it would have been a different matter altogether. But Abronya has not been charged for contempt. Abronya has been charged with the publication of false news. And I'm saying that the government of the day has used this very provision, Section 202, as a tool to intimidate political opponents. And I'll always, 208, and I'll always accuse the government because all criminal prosecutions in this country is initiated at the instance of the Attorney General. This is a constitutional provision in Article 88, and the Attorney General is appointed by the President. The Attorney General works for the President. The Attorney General is a representative of the President. The Attorney General does not do anything without the express authorization of the President, because all ministers work for the President.
I know that
we live in an executive presidency.
Some progress in repealing certain libel laws, right?
Yes.
Historically,
Yeah.
but this 208 existed years ago as well.
Absolutely.
Did it look good at the time?
33 years ago.
Did it look good in the NPP's regime? Was it useful? Was it outdated?
We didn't use it to oppress political opponents.
Okay.
We never used it to oppress political opponents. That's why I'm saying that the government of the day is using this very law as a tool to oppress political opponents. You see, there are things that people may say that may have an impact on the peace and stability of the nation. I do not condone such things. But like I'm saying, I put my conversation in a context to say that if you insult somebody, today sitting here, if I insult Emefa, and Emefa feels worried about my insult, Emefa has every right to go to the civil court. Few days ago, some people accused our former running mate of instigating people to engage in doomsor or instigating the power outages in Ashanti region. Did he make a police complaint? He filed a defamatory suit against those persons. Few weeks ago also, the Honorable Kojo Ponkroma, the deputy PBC CEO, accused him of being involved in Galamsey. Did he write to NIB to go and arrest the deputy CEO for PBC? He filed a defamatory case against him. Okay. Few years ago, Sami Jemfi accused the vice president of the time of being the owner of Haptel and using Haptel to siphon monies belonging to ECG. The vice president at the time, being the chairman of the police council, did not instigate the arrest of Sami Jemfi. Malik Basintali, Felix Ofosu-Kwakye, including President Mahama himself, has said so many things that people disagreed with them. As I conclude, President Mahama himself described the family members of the former president as Achim Sakawa boys. Was he arrested? But today you cannot say same. Let me just say that President Mahama's family members are Gonja Mafia people. Don't come and arrest me. Now, as we are sitting here, we are all not safe here. Emefa, you are not safe. I am not safe. Prof is also not safe.
Are you
Council is semi-safe, but this gentleman is very safe. Well, Emefa, you are not safe.
Let me go to lawyer. Well, I agree that if a person feels that a commentary about them is quite defamatory, they need to go the civil route. We also know that there are certain things you say that can amount. They can really, the police can peel it back or the prosecutors can peel it back and then want to come under 208. 208, are you also of the opinion that is outdated, is not fit for purpose?
So let me wish you.
And also whilst you're at it, situate the judge's decision to remand Abronye, if indeed is contempt of court, because we agree that he was already attending to court on a bail matter. He had been bailed on other matters. And usually if you're on bail and the judge feels that because you're on bail, you get the opportunity to go and commit other things that can amount to certain crime, they can use their power to want to remand you. I've seen it in many cases. I want to hear you on that.
Yeah, so let me wish your loving viewers a good morning. Wish yourself a good morning. My learned friend here, good morning. And my prof and my spokesperson for Interior, good morning. Good morning. I think we need to agree, realign, and recommit ourselves to the principles of our constitutional democracy. I think one of the fundamental purposes for why we talk about ourselves, this constitutional democracy, that has as one of its underpinning principles being the principle of the rule of law, and whose purpose is one, to protect our lives, protect our liberties, protect our rights to pursue our own happiness, as one of its fundamental purposes, and to allow ourselves to be guided by these purposes and these principles, and restrain ourselves from being adulterated by our partisan consideration. Because if there's one thing that the NPP is fighting against in this, their communication, is the issue of credibility. There's a fundamental lack of credibility in the angle the NPP is taking, which is undermining all of our efforts to fight for our unalloyed commitment to the principles of our constitutional democracy, the principles of our constitutional democracy. And that lack of commitment stems from how they themselves weaponized Section 208 of our Criminal Act. 2024, I think I was enjoying one Thursday afternoon, or this Thursday, I don't remember the day, when I had a desperate call from my friend, Akosua-Addo. Akosua-Addo was invited to the police, having made certain comments, I think, at Accra FM. He himself took himself to the police. He was not arrested. He willingly took himself to the police.
He wasn't even invited?
No, he had
a comment.
And then he was invited. They called him, and then that's it. He was not arrested. He willingly took himself there. He was charged under Section 208, which is a misdemeanor. And I think he said there were some blastings at Togo during the 2016 election, and he said those bombings were done at the behest of the president of the day, Akufo-Addo. That was prior to the 2016 election. But he was charged under misdemeanor, and he was charged in a country where the presumption is that you are innocent until proven guilty by competent law, a court of competent jurisdiction. He took himself. Abonye was detained. He was detained, and we had to go to court. We had to amass all our arsenals to go to court to secure bail for him.
What was the bail process like?
We had to go
in custody till after 48.
Yeah, so court bail. Court bail. It wasn't a police inquiry bail. So we had to go to court and argue and secure bail for him. Bobi Ansah, you recall Bobi Ansah. Bobi Ansah said, made allegations. They may be untrue. I think they were not true. That the president's family had used or uses our national airline, the presidential jet, for shopping sprees. Bobi Ansah was arrested, not so. Indeed, Samuel Jefi himself was arrested. I can go on and mention Ohineba Buama Bene of Power FM, David Tamakulu, Captain Smart, Eric Nana, J2, and all. And so as much as in terms of principle, I agree with what my brother is saying in terms of principle. I think the difficulty the NPP is having is how they themselves weaponized Section 208 of our criminal...
The NPP is not accepting that they weaponized...
They did. These are factual issues.
That's right by you.
So probably he's sharing his personal view. Is the person he's sharing? I'm sure he has a personal view which may differ from the.
Yeah, ask the question.
Sharing the party's
view. Okay.
The party's position is that we never weaponize Section 2.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah. So sorry about that. I was trying to exonerate him. He's a young man, and I don't recall because I just saw him doing communication.
I'm the head of the NPP.
But
seeing the things.
Please, I didn't.
My party.
Please, it's my time. Please, it's my time. Please, it's my time.
I'll not take it.
Yeah. Indeed.
Enjoy your time.
I remember the first time I ever did communication on radio. That was my very first time. I think it was sometime 2021 at Kasapa FM.
You represented the NPP there?
I was then in the NPP. I remember. Yeah, I was in the NPP.
So you were on radio speaking?
Please, I'm this is my time. I beg you.
Because you to be a journalist too.
I wish.
No. So 2021, that was my first time on radio. I went to Kasapa FM as an NPP communicator, and I think I was making a case for why Alan John Kojo Martin should be considered for the presidential. Okay. Then the producer who is now in this network, Kwesi Nsia, was panting and came to me. What am I saying? Why? Because he's getting calls from national security that he should stop me. And I mentioned his name, and you can. He came and he was so worried, he was so scared. And I took the phone and replied to whoever was on the other line that listen, that I'm in a country that's supposed to be governed by the principle of free speech, and that they should leave Kwesi Nsia alone. If they think they are men, they should come for me. And he was being threatened, and I was being threatened only because I shared an opinion. This happened in 2021. This happened in 2021. Within their party, there was no free speech. And so, as much as all of us have an obligation placed on us by our constitution to defend our constitution, to defend the tenets of our constitution, to defend the principles of our constitution, to defend the purpose of our constitution. I'm saying this is a battle that all Ghanaians have to fight for. And we do not want our efforts to be tainted by the lack of credibility of the NPP. Because my personal opinion is that most of the time, like in Hussain's case, I do not think whatever happened to Hussain was because of an order by Nana Addo. I do not think Hussain was arrested on the orders of Nana Addo. Apparatchiks in the parties.
But per his logic, it would have been.
That's why I don't want to go by his angle. Sorry, I don't want to go his angle. Because you see, there are certain battles that goes to the very foundation of our constitution that ought not to be handled in a partisan manner.
Of course.
You understand? I'm so convinced that the arrest of Hussain was at the behest of the president at that time. And I'm convinced that a lot of the things happening are not at the behest of the current.
Would you say same for Abronye?
Yeah, I'm very certain that it's not at the behest of the president. You see, we have failed as a people to strengthen our institutions that the Constitution created to secure for us the purpose of our Constitution. Unfortunately, so when the Constitution said that, listen, when Ghanaians created the Constitution, whose focus is to protect our lives, protect our liberties, and our fundamental right to pursue our happiness, we also created institutions whose focus was to protect and secure for us these rights, like the police, like the judiciary. But unfortunately, we have failed as a people, collectively, as a people, to strengthen these institutions, the independence of these institutions. And because they are so weak, any member, any popular or perceived strong member of the ruling or the party that sponsored the government can weaponize these institutions to attack the very purpose of this our constitution. Because for crying out loud, how can somebody be kept in for a mere misdemeanor? I understand, I heard you say that the judge said Abronye should be kept in until the case ends.
The 2 weeks. It's been remanded.
For 2 weeks.
I mean, you're the one. You're firm, right?
So it's 2
The
weeks.
return date is 2 weeks. No, it was remanded to the final determination of the matter.
The return.
Yesterday, we actually found out.
What does return mean?
The next day,
The next agenda.
Yes. And it will be determined whether he stays in remand or he's.
No.
He goes back to
the matter goes on. Yes, the matter goes on.
So generally, unless the person is of a high risk, the person has proven that, listen, do not appear in court when they are required. Or like you rightly said, that when we leave the person might go and commit other criminal offenses.
Or the same one.
Yes. Then there cannot be any justification why anybody should be remanded.
And this is the legal education I want us to get this morning, that it's so strange for a judge to remand somebody who was previously on bail and has made a comment. We reduce it to, it was just a comment he made. And all.
I don't know if I can use it.
No, please,
that's fine. Because I feel like there is a fundamental point there to be made about the fact that the person in question has a.
So you don't have any problem giving your time to Julius?
What is wrong? That's why I asked that.
But you said no, but you still allowed to
sit. No, listeners are listening. It's important something. But if you don't want, to, I'll wait my time.
No, you can share your time with Julius.
It's not about sharing the time. It's about perspectives on the particular issue so that it shifts.
They can share their.
There's a special discipline that is expected of the person.
Please, I beg you, please.
In fact, indeed, that is why I would not even make a gentle request. I would have made the same of if I want to make an impact. If he doesn't want to, I'll move on. But the point I want to make is that just 30 seconds is that when you read section 96 of Act 30, it is not only the risk of the person not appearing before court. There's also the risk of the person repeating that offense or a different offense. The person we are talking about, the critical question becomes, if I am arguing for prosecution, what would I be putting before the court? I'll be putting before the court that this person has a history of repeatedly doing this thing that is before the court, and I can make for emphasis. February of 2022, he did the same thing. He was charged.
Make the point.
So the repetition is there. So if we pretend as though there is no basis in law for it, it's a problem. It is a different thing to argue that, well, you don't think it means that's fine. That's fine. But I just don't want listeners to miss out on that particular point. That the repetition is there in his case. The repetition of the
because of the seriousness of what is at stake, because what is happening, and what, in my humble opinion, has been happening over the years, and that is politicians weaponizing laws, institutions to pursue their political opponents. This is a battle that all of us ought to fight.
You can't insulate both parties.
No. Because this, I've had issues, and publicly, I've had issues with some of the crazy, I think on your show, the crazy bill conditions being given to some of the NPP, what's called, guys. You understand? Because when the law says that, listen, you should not keep anybody behind as in cells for more than 48 hours, you do not cure that by granting bail on very onerous terms. It does not cure that requirement.
Based on the power person feels. This is not dependent on the kind of crime that is being charged.
No, but so I'm talking about police inquiry bail here.
Okay, police inquiry.
Because you see, the principle is that you should not keep anybody
regardless.
You understand? Without taking the person to court. You understand? Yeah. And I'm saying you do not cure that requirement by giving very onerous bail. Then you are weaponizing the law itself against the very... And so it's a fight that all of us need to fight to keep the sanctity of our constitution and the fidelity of our constitution. And I'm saying that battle is being weakened by the lack of credibility of the NPP. The lack of credibility based on how they themselves weaponized the law, weaponized our institutions, weakened our institutions that were meant to protect these rights. Now, I'm going to call on the current government, because when His Excellency John Mahama took office, he took an oath. The terms of those were that he was going to protect, defend, uphold the laws of Ghana. That he was going to be faithful to Ghana. That means that he's going to be faithful to the ideals, the principles, the values of Ghana. And those values cannot be seen better than us has been enshrined in our constitution. You understand? So I'm going to call on His Excellency and all Ghanaians This is a battle that cannot be fought on partisan grounds. But having said that, we also need to understand that there's a limit to our right to free speech. You see, the
second question.
There's a limit, and we cannot weaken our constitution. We cannot weaken the purpose of our constitution and then quickly jump and say, listen, I have a right to free speech. But you do not have to speak in a manner that will breed hatred, contempt, or that will weaken our institutions.
I would be seeking your opinion as a lawyer, not as a politician, in the balance between free speech and speeches that can be inflammatory. Yeah. That one, and how the police is clothed or prosecutors are clothed with the duty to find that balance. Is it the problem of the law or those who, implement the law? And what do you say to people who do not really understand the law and they say that they are very overzealous security personnel, and they are the ones that sometimes, overreach. And the president, for example, would not know. The people say that, but by this time, the president is watching Joy News and has heard that they have said something about him and his picture and all of that. Why wouldn't he say anything about it if he thinks that it wasn't sanctioned by him? The balance between the duty of the Attorney General and when the president must leave it entirely to him. What do you say to these are concerns that people are asking me to ask you, but Julius, let me hear you.
Thank you very much, Emefa, and good morning to our viewers once more, and a very good morning to His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic, who has been delivering tremendously on his mandate since January the 7th, 2025. I would say on this particular issue that I will be making my presentation on three main thematic areas. One, my normative view on what the law should be, the effects of Section 207 and 208 of Act 29 and Section 76 of the Electronic Communications Act, which was promulgated by the then New Patriotic Party government in 2008. I would, want my normative views to be on record, because in this country, when someone engages in gross hypocrisy, demonstrates lack of integrity, and in an attempt to call out that hypocrisy and lack of integrity, people mistake it to be what your normative views are. So I would want to start on my normative views on the law and then address the hypocritical issues that arise from the statement issued by former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And in fact, even the statements that have been made by my learned senior brother, Kwesi Bochwe, who sought to suggest that under the New Patriotic Party, the sections 207 and 208 of Act 29 were not used, or he sought to put it, were not weaponized against political opponents. I will be demonstrating to you that it was not only used, it was grossly abused. On my normative views, I think myself and my brother completely agree that a law which traces its source from 1893, which found its way into our Act 29, should now be questioned within the framework of our 1992 Constitution, particularly the freedoms of speech, which it seeks to guarantee in Article 28, Article 21(1)(a) of the Constitution. And if you look at the broad freedoms of the press, which has been guaranteed between Article 162 of the Constitution to 165, you would see that the Constitution intended for freedom of speech to be elevated in this country, especially that which is political, so that people can be able to express their views. We would want to examine Section 207 and 208 in light of these provisions and what they intend to achieve. I am of the view, and if you would permit me, and for purposes of our audience, to read Section 207 of Act 29, it says that a person who in a public space or at a public meeting uses threatening, that's 207, and the offense is offense of conduct conducive to the breaches of peace. It says a person who in a public space or at a public meeting uses threatening, abusive or insulting words or behavior which intend to provoke a breach of the peace, or by which a breach of the peace is likely to be occasioned, commits a misdemeanor. What this law requires is for the state apparatus to apprehend that a certain conduct which I am putting up in this studio is likely to cause disorder in this space, is likely to cause a breach of the peace. It doesn't have to even actually cause a breach of the peace, and I may be liable for a misdemeanor under the Act. The critical question that arises in the minds of everybody is whether this law is not too vague. whether this law is not too overbroad, such that it can be construed in a manner that can capture any and everybody at every time. And so critical scholars would argue that this sort of law, when they make an argument in normative terms, what the law is supposed to be within the framework of the Constitution 1992, would say that this overbreadth should be cured, either by legislative means or by an action before the superior courts, which would streamline the law in a matter that determines what exactly would constitute the conduct. They would want that exactitude. So in my view, that overbreadth is a question that needs to be, dealt with. Indeed, you would think that myself and Kwesi Botwe read the same notes before coming here, because he makes an argument grounded on the moves that have been made by Kenya, the moves that have been made by Uganda, the moves that have been made by the Gambia, the moves that have been made by South Africa, in fact, and indeed even Egypt, to deal with this law. But for purposes of saving our time, I would point you to the case of Andama versus the Director of Public Prosecutions of Kenya, which culminated in the 2021 decision of the Kenyan, Supreme Court, striking down a similar provision as Section 207 and 208 of our Act 29, that for reasons of it being overbroad. But you would see that while Kwesi Botwe in one breath argues that he represents the views of the New Patriotic Party, which would mean that the normative argument he's making should also represent the views of the New Patriotic Party. The same New Patriotic Party passed the Electronic Communications Act of 2008, Section 76 of the Electronic Communications Act, except for a little specificity in terms of the conduct inhibiting, the process of saving lives and all of those things, is in substance similar to Section 208 of Act 29, which would mean, again, a clear demonstration of hypocrisy when it comes to even the normative thinking of the New Patriotic Party. I don't think they actually believe in what they are saying should be the position of the law. So when it comes to the normative value, I believe that, yes, there's the need for us to have a relook on some of those things. And that is without me even touching on the fact that a clear reading of Article 12 of our Constitution, and even if you read Article 164 of the Constitution, will tell you that freedoms of expression are supposed to be subject to certain limits, and those limits have been clearly outlined in the Constitution. And for our purposes, I would want to outline some of them for you. For protecting even the reputations of people and the rights and freedoms of others, national security, public order, public morality. The question I would want the public to be asking ourselves is that if you observe the conduct of Kwame Bafo, who is called Abronye, the regional chairperson of the New Patriotic Party in the Bono region, am I making a mistake? If you observe his conduct, are there no real questions in light of these provisions, even of the Constitution, as to where the limits of law must be drawn about the conduct of this person? I will leave that to the public to decide. I will not decide. Everybody knows Abronye. Everybody sees how Abronye conduct himself. I will leave it to the discerning public to decide whether they do not think that Abronye's conduct, even in the light of the limitations that are set by Article 12 of the Constitution and Article 164 of the Constitution, public order, because he has set up a studio. So he's operating as a media of a sort, where he insults and attacks everybody, publish false things all the time he likes. I would want the public, the discerning public, to weigh those conducts in light of Article 164. Public order, public morality, national security, some of the things Abronye has been saying, including even his conduct in 2022, when he said that President John Dramani Mahama was plotting a coup. Abronye was arrested and charged for that. Those are the sort of things the person says. If you make a false claim.
And earlier this week, there's been a pushback that if you say that Abronye, of course, some of the things, and we've left it to the audience.
Yeah, the discerning public to decide, but everybody knows Abronye.
There have been many who have raised questions about a social media commentator called Kevin Taylor as well.
I would come to that. Okay. And I am not a spokesperson for Kevin Taylor. I would never constitute. Please. You spoke for about 20 minutes. I watched you. I could have interjected. I'm not a spokesperson. I'm not a spokesperson for Kevin Taylor. I would never be a spokesperson for Kevin Taylor. I speak for the government of the Republic of Ghana, and I will speak to the issues as are with us today. Kwame Bafo, I am saying again that the public should discern what he has been doing in light of this. I will not draw the conclusions for them. But look at a conduct like saying that the president, the former president, as he then was plotting a coup. I'm leaving it to the public again to decide, to discern if that sort of conduct does not pose national security risk in light of Article 164, for example, because he has set up a studio where he has been saying those things, so it will come within the framework of media. I would want the discerning public to look at that. Then, when you look at all these normative arguments I have already made, and you construe them in light of what I think the position of the law should be, then enactments should also come with some specificity so that we don't have a situation where the state is too broad, so that the state police and all of those things may be able to abuse them. I think on that, all of us would be agreed. Prof has not spoken yet, but I believe that he would be agreed on some of those fundamentals. Then you come to the hypocrisy, the lack of integrity, the double standard, the posture that seeks to suggest that New Patriotic Party persons and their affiliates are belonging to a certain class of citizenry distinct from the rest of us, such that there are different rules for them and there are different rules for you and me, Emefa. Let me tell you, Emefa, he was talking about safety of people in this room. The only reason why you are safe and comfortable today is because there is no risk that what happened in UTV, you and me discussed what happened in UTV back then when you were at MX24, you recall, where associates of the New Patriotic Party would enter studios and brutalize people because they do not agree with the editorial policy of the media houses. Do you see that happening in Ghana today? And he was talking about our safety in here. We are safer because of the NDC government not allowing that sort of behavior. So if he's talking about people being safe, except in Emefa, you are safe today because of that.
Before you go on the other matters, while I recognize that you say that you don't speak for other people, if you take a step back, what would you say to the part of their statement saying that we're using the law selectively? That it seems to suggest the law is only operating on NPP members who say things that they think can amount to false publication.
I don't think so, unless of course you can demonstrate to me. You know, in this country, what do you call it? Criminal prosecutions do not only begin by the state actors taking action. Someone can make a complaint under oath about conduct being criminal. Unless you can show me that, for example, you, Emefa, has made a complaint under oath against Julius Kwame Anthony, for example.
When I come back to this,
for engaging in criminal conduct, and they have been ignored. If they are making those claims that they have people who have been engaging in criminal conduct, the law is so expansive such that they can cause the beginning of the criminal procedure to make complaints under oath. Where? Tell me, where Kwesi Bochwe or Dr. Baumia or anybody in the New Patriotic Party can tell you they have made certain complaints under oath with clear particulars about conducts of people which are in breach of the law and no action has been taken. They will not be able to demonstrate that. If you give him 1,000 years here now, he will not be able to demonstrate that he will do that. But to my particular issue, so that I don't lose my train of thought, he claimed that the NPP never used Section 207 and Section 208, or he sought to qualify it that they never abused it. Let me give you multiple examples. You will get tired. I'll mention for you more than 10 instances where the abuse of that particular law was in full force and in full gear in this country. Do you know Apia Stadium? Everybody knows Apia Stadium, right? He was arrested and charged under these same laws for a certain description of President Akufo-Addo, which they deemed to be criminal. These same laws. Kwesi Bochwe is sitting on this platform saying they didn't use that law. And that was in 2017. That was in 2017. What particular? He said, you should tell us. You should tell us what is different from Apia Stadium situation and the situations. I mean, you should tell us. And that, you see, I want to be clear on my normative views while addressing the hypocrisy. I don't think this law should exist. But if you are here riding a high moral horse, you should have the integrity. Dr. Baumia does not have the integrity to tell us this. He was vice president of the Republic. He saw this happen. Then you move to Kweku Rafiki, an NDC activist on X, who has been making posts about the banking sector cleanup and things he believed were illegalities. He was arrested, picked up by BNI and National Security under the New Patriotic Party. You remember this pharmacist, Reginald Sechi Brown, who went to UGMC, and the only crime Reginald Sechi Brown committed was to lift a placard and says, "Open UGMC now." He was arrested and charged. These people arrested him on that particular charge. Remember Bobby Ansan of Accra FM? Bobby Ansan of Accra FM was arrested in February of 2022 for publication of false news, the same Section 208. And Bobby Ansan's arrest was only because he said what? The first lady and the second lady fly the presidential jet to go and do shopping. That was why Bobby Ansan was arrested. You don't have the moral right. You don't have the moral right.
Let me flip you lack the integrity. You lack it. Anthony, let me flip. So if I invited my cameraman behind here, and then he made the same allegations.
I find it unfortunate that you are interrupting my trend on this, but I really want to.
These are public records.
Yes, I really want to complete it.
These
for
are
the
cases
record.
that
I want to complete it for the record. I will answer your question.
Complete it and answer.
Yes, I'll answer your question. Bongo Ideas was picked up at night by national security operatives because of the sort of things he posts on social media. You remember that? Bongo Ideas. You remember the so-called Delta Force of the New Patriotic Party. They were even storming courts, emboldened by these same people under them. Democracy Hub. You remember the Democracy Hub protest in 2024, September of 2024. I remember very well because I participated. From 20th of September 2024 to the 23rd, that protest became popular because they arrested the participants for protesting. You know what protest is? It is the height, it is the apogee, it is the ascendancy of free speech. That is what protest is. You arrest people for protesting against you for destroying the environment. They arrested them. Do you know what is even more pathetic about the conduct that happened under them? Vice President Bawumia, as he then was acting president of the Republic of Ghana when those things happened. Because President Akufo-Addo was away in the United States on international missions. When Godfred Yeboah-Dami, learned Attorney General as he then was, went to court to oppose bail for these people. He went to court to oppose bail because people protested against the New Patriotic Party government. Kwesi Botwe, and he was on record to say it, that prosecutions do not happen without knowledge of the president. That if prosecutions happen, it means that the president has sanctioned it because it is the president who appoints the Attorney General under Article 88 of the Constitution.
Is that the real case? You both are lawyers.
It is not the case. Kwesi knows. Kwesi is just dishonest. But I am not. It's an opinion. It is an opinion. You address it. No, but you should let him. No, he's attacking my person. You address it. You have every right to say
let's respect the audience.
You have every right to say
let's respect the audience.
Okay.
You have every right to express our opinion. Respect the audience.
I allowed you to.
Let's respect the audience.
I allowed you to.
A colleague panel member dishonest. I don't think it's proper.
That is fine.
You are here to state your opinion. You are stating your opinion. Nobody's interjecting you. Now you want to attack my person.
No matter how you interrupt, I will make the point.
This is not proper.
No matter how you interrupt, I will make the point. No matter how you interrupt, I'll make the point. I think that Kwesi Botwe is only being dishonest, and that is my opinion, and I hold it. The reason why I hold that view so strongly is because Kwesi Botwe is a lawyer. Kwesi Botwe is aware that when the Attorney General cedes part of his prosecutorial authority to other agencies, please wait.
Where did Kwesi say this?
Please, the record is there. I'm saying you rewind your videos after. We have to save the time. The record is there. He said any time prosecutions are made, the Attorney General is aware, and the President is the one who authorizes it. He said it.
You mean now, this morning?
Yes. This morning. Yes, he said it.
That's why I asked the question.
I said he said it. If you don't believe me, rewind your videos after he said it.
Anthony, hang on. No, I'll give you the time. Usually when the person is here, there's no need to marinate the
No, let him make his point. I'll have my time. Let him make his point.
You demanded the time.
Let him speak in his Let me make his point. He's spoken for 80 minutes. I'm watching it, so let him make his point.
You spoke.
I'm looking at the time.
Nobody complained.
Let him make
Why do you start? You see, when he was speaking, everybody was speaking. There was no disaster here. I start speaking, and there's disaster.
Land.
Which disaster? There's disaster.
You haven't said anything.
Let me wrap my point.
Make your point. You haven't said anything. Make your point.
No matter. Please, be calculating the number of minutes he takes out of my time so that you allow me.
He spoke for 20 minutes. He's also timing 18. You land on the matter.
The number of times, the number of minutes it takes from my time, I would recover.
No, you see.
So please,
when you make a point, and I
think there's no cause for alarm. Let me complete my thoughts.
No alarm here. If I need to get clarity, I will.
Sure, of course. But I don't respond to Kwesi. I respond to you.
That's why I said, listen to me.
Now, they made all these things. He said that if those prosecutions are made, it means the Vice President Bawumia, as he then was acting president of this republic by reason of constitutional dictate, that if the president is out of this jurisdiction, it is the vice president who is in charge. When Godfred Yeboah-Dami Esquire went to court to oppose bail for Democracy Hub protesters, tell me that if the acting president, they said the president is the one who gives the instruction, per Kwesi Botwe's logic, then it means the Vice President Bawumia, who today is issuing statements threatening state institutions that there will be consequences in his imaginary presidency. It means he was the one who gave that instruction. Let the record reflect that in September of 2024, particularly between 21st and 23rd of September 2024, it was Vice President Bawumia who gave the instruction to Godfrey Yeboah-Dame, Attorney General, to oppose bail to Democracy Hub protesters, per Kwesi Botchwe's logic.
So, you're making an
Let the records reflect that he is saying, per Kwesi Botchwe's logic, let the records reflect that it was Vice President Bawumia who did that. Yeah. So please, when we are talking about these issues, and I didn't even complete the number of people they arrested. In fact, armed men literally entered Metro TV.
It won't
studios.
be necessary.
Yes, thank you very much, because the point is already clear to you. So under the NPP, if Kwesi Botchwe claims that they were not weaponizing Section 207 and Section 208, he would be, in all respect and deference to him, as a senior and a lawyer, he would be lying if he says so. And I would want to sum up on the normative points that I have made, that it is my view that these laws be re-looked at. And if we want to re-look at these laws, then all the sides of the political divide must come honestly and with integrity for us to re-look at these laws. But if one side, while they are in power, like the case of Vice President Bawumia when he was acting president of the Republic, can weaponize it because people are protesting against his government in an election he was clearly losing, and put those people in jail for several days, and turn around when they lose power and be complaining, we will not make reforms that way. And on the last point, on Abronye, 30 seconds.
When I give time for people to recommend, you would have given your recommendation.
Oh, of course,
so
I would.
Then
I would. 30 seconds, please. I beg. 30 seconds. On Abronye, Section 96 of Act 30 talks about how bail operates in this country. And aside the likelihood or the what you call the sort of offense the person has committed, the likelihood that the person will commit different offenses, there is also the likelihood that the person will commit that same offense, which must be construed in light of the section.
Anthony,
in 2022, Abronye did the same thing, and he has been continuously doing it. I am not a spokesperson for the judge, but if I were a judge and Abronye appears before me, and with the conduct he has been, what do you call it, putting up, and there's an argument before me that he will repeat that same thing, I would demand Abronye. If I were a judge, I would do it. I'm not a spokesperson for the judge. But given his conduct, and I believe that listeners and viewers would also agree with me on that particular matter. Thank you very much.
Let me hear you.
Let's stop the hypocrisy. Let's stop it.
Yeah,
let's stop it.
Good morning. Good morning to your viewers as well. Good morning to my colleagues. I was enjoying legal education.
It's not small class we've gone to this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Remedial classes, all three.
Law 101. But I'm sure people who are listening to us will equally enjoy the submission from our colleagues. One thing I'll ask that when we are making this education, we should allow them to also take our time for them to listen and enjoy, so that we don't have banter, because you can have your own time, present your issues for members to understand.
So let me just take a second to also put on record that if a co-panelist makes a comment about you and it's an allegation on your person, rest assured that we're not going to end the show without you having an opportunity to respond.
Of course.
You don't necessarily have to. You would have your time to respond.
And then you can do that.
Yeah.
So we can have a civil discussions to help our listeners and your viewers as well. In Ghana today, the most politically explosive debate is about criminalization of free speech. The reason being that it sits at the intersection of political accountability, one, democracy, two, the state power, and I'm sure freedom of speech. So these are the borderlines that we have. So sometimes when you're discussing, we have to be very careful because of the 3 or 5 different positions that we have. The question here is, we are not talking about people being responsible. In fact, that is the main thing, that people must be responsible when they speak. But it's not only in that breath. But another angle is the fact that we must also be very careful when we are using state institutions to intimidate critics and opponents. And that cuts across different regimes. In our school, we teach people how to relate to people, how to talk, train minds, train individuals. So in any day, I will not support languages or words that will hurt individuals. No, that's not what we do. In fact, I listened to both co-panelists. Can you count the number of names that I've mentioned this morning? They cited so many cases, and I'm sure there are lawyers to defend their cases, to give you proper cases. So many names have been mentioned. So what it means is that this issue is becoming problematic. Solution to this issue is a problem. All that we have said this morning, you will ask the Kron saying, where? What's the solution? I think we must involve universities in solving this problem. You know how? Why? We train all these individuals. So when you make an utterance, we make a statement against someone, the university can also call and withdraw your certificate. That should be an angle we should be considering. Because if we look at the number of names,
that the university would have to make a determination.
No, after we can, because we give you. I agree. When you earn your certificate, you achieve your education. School give you certificate. So if we make some statement, pronouncement against people, they can review. I recall this. I don't know lawyers what we think about that. Because we need to have a solution to this issue.
Would it be that the school will then now sit and find a determination as to whether the commentary amounts to...
We have lawyers, we have university lawyers. I'm saying we need to have a solution.
For example, finance. When I'm doing my accounting and I'm balancing and all of that, for me to score an A, it will be entirely different from an inflammatory word that I will use on television, right? Well, but I see the point you make, but I'm just bringing up...
We are having issue with politicians in solving this issue for us.
Yeah.
You gave him time, Yeah. Maybe you should find out, so what is the solution?
Yeah.
They cannot give us a solution. All the political parties. It's difficult. Yeah. So maybe we should engage the universities to start this debate, because we have, in this country, if you ask me to mention, I can mention names. One person over years has been insulting politicians, insulting chief imams, insulting pastors, insulting former president and presidents. And we are quiet. You know the person. You know the person. Grown-ups. And we're all quiet. When you start discussing this and look at it from politics, without the law, you scratch the surface. You scratch the surface. Constitution, the 1992 Constitution, gives us that guarantee of freedom of speech. And I'm sure our lawyers, Article 21A of our session, yes, allows you. Press, you have freedom to speak. We have freedom to speak as well. But the same law places a limit. It's not absolute. That you can say anything anyhow and go scot-free. Defamations and the rest, it's speech and all that. So you realize that, yes, one law gives you the opportunity to speak, but when you are speaking, in your speech, you have to be careful what you say. So it's not absolute. Let's look at this whole without bringing in our political parties into this debate. From the angle of our democratic rankings as a country, our media rankings, and economic impact of all the discussions we are having today. If you look at this carefully, the same law that we quoted, in Ghana, in terms of our democratic reputation as a country, how many elections have we had? Almost 8 elections, successful ones, after 1992. If we check the repeal of the law, happened until 2001?
Right before, when the...
2001.
Before era, yeah.
Criminal libel law, 2001. So in terms of reputation as a country, we have reputation.
Successfully done.
So when we hear such arrest, naturally, it will attract attention because of our pedigree as a country. Our media, check the rankings recent times, fluctuations because of several attacks on the media and other people. So it tells you we are not sitting. I mean, where we find ourselves, we have issues. Look at the economic impact of all the debate we are having today. It weakens investors' confidence. Where's the solution? He gave you a lot of names this morning. My good friend gave you names. My good friend gave you names.
It's almost like it's a cycle.
Now, turn and look at the economic impact of all these discussions. Abronya arrested.
David Asando.
Yes. And then also Hobson, the rest. It will never. Are you not surprised that when a government takes over, those who are arrested in the mining areas are sometimes opposition parties? When we are recording arrests today, obviously, it will not be the government appointees. So the question I was asking this morning, I think when my good friends were making submission, would the same actions be taken against individuals who belong to the ruling parties?
It's a question.
No, for the gods. I'm not even inviting.
I was hoping it would be a question for the gods, but I like to think it's a question the New Patriotic is asking, and it was a question the NDC asked.
Would the same actions be taken about these individuals who belong to the ruling party? And I gave you a scenario that when there's a change of government, those who are arrested are not the ruling party people. So why are we going to end this narrative? When can we have a solution? For me, University or GTech should start these discussions.
Okay.
Maybe when we withdraw certificates of these individuals who may do some printable ways, they will sit right.
Because I hear certificate is awarded, not because you just...
It's awarded. They can withdraw.
They can be withdrawn. Okay, Kwesi.
No.
Yeah, I mean, of course you do.
Very well. Emefa, let's be very clear this morning. The conversation this morning is about persons being charged for publication of false news. Is that not the case? And it's about the weaponization of Section 207 and 208 of Act 29. You see, Julius has said a lot of nothing. And this morning, he has demonstrated gross ignorance and arrogance. But I will not address his conduct. He makes the point and references Reginald Sechi Brown. In which court was Reginald Sechi Brown charged for the publication of false news? We are not talking about persons who were arrested under the previous regime or persons who were prosecuted under the previous regime for various offenses committed. We are talking about the weaponization of Section 207 and 208. Reginald Sechi Brown was never prosecuted. He was never arraigned before any court of law. He was never. I concede during an event at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital by the former First Lady, he was arrested for certain conduct the police deemed unlawful and a distraction to the event. He was detained for about an hour or two at the Kolebu police station and was released. He was never prosecuted. You mentioned Abronye and his accusation that President Mahama was plotting a coup. Abronye in 2022 was rightly arrested. He was charged. He was prosecuted under his own government. And the courts acquitted him. The courts acquitted him that he never made those statements. And so today, if you make the point to say that Abronye made those statements, blah, 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 and so what? At the end of the day, the courts acquitted him. And if the courts acquitted him, it means that He never made those things. Emefa, with the greatest of respect and with due deference to you, allow me make my point. When I finish, then you can ask. So I don't lose my thought. Kindly, he spoke at length, and you didn't interject. With all due respect, Emefa, with all due respect.
Now this is me trying to get you to order. I had to put him. I needed clarity.
Emefa, ask your question.
And I had to ask him a lot of questions.
Ask your question.
Because it's not like a speech.
Emefa, ask your question.
Okay. I know that we're discussing the provisions 207, 208. But as well, quite situated under the statement that the Vice President also released, if you understand. So you agree that we can't discuss 208 in its just exclusivity.
Without addressing
it brings in other areas of conversation.
The statement and the provisions of section 207 and 208 fundamentally has to do with the criminalization of free speech.
I agree with you, but
and I'm saying that if you mention somebody like Reginald Sechi Brown, he was never arrested or he was never prosecuted for publishing false news. He was never prosecuted for publishing false news. You mentioned Bongo Ideas. He should provide any court document that supports or establishes his claim that Bongo Ideas was prosecuted for the publication of false news. Persons can be arrested for different offenses, and that is not what we are talking about here. But for the point I want to make this morning, which Council here and Julius has not been able to debunk, is the fact that today in this country, state institutions have weaponized Section 208 and 208, 207 and 208 against political opponents. That is the point we are all making this morning, and I think that is the fundamental point that the good people of this country are not happy about.
Maybe because
I
scoped the topic so that we're not being unfair to you to say that we're only discussing 208.
That's not true.
We're discussing the challenge or the perception of non-free speech situated under
which law is being used to criminalize free speech in this country? Is it not Section 207 and 208?
That is a part of the discussion, and as well,
that is the crux of the discussion. That is the foundation of the discussion.
You read the flyer. The crux of the conversation as well is the fact that the former Vice President, and I take it seriously, what he says that I therefore serve notice to officers of the state who were active participants in this unholy enterprise that the day of accountability will come and the abuse of state power will be accounted for.
And the flyer
the Vice President declared that Dr. Bawumia alleged that some state investigative bodies and sanctions of the sections of the judiciary are being used to silence opposition.
Absolutely.
So why is it only about
there is nothing wrong with this. And I'm saying that all the persons who have been arrested in this country, or political opponents who have been arrested since 2025, since this government assumed office, they have all been charged under Section 207 and 208. Fanti Comedy was let me make my point respectfully. Fanti Comedy was arrested, charged, and prosecuted under Section 207 of Act 29. Sir Obama Pokwase was arrested, detained, charged, and prosecuted under Section 207. Abronye arrested, prosecuted under Section 207. Adeti Kumi, same thing. All persons who have been arrested by this government have been charged under this very law. And I am making the point that the state, which is the police, the NIB, and Yoku, have weaponized Section 207 and 208 to initiate these prosecutions. And my brother makes the point that it presupposes that, per my logic, then if somebody is arrested, it means it is at the behest of the president. Go and read Article 88 of the Constitution. Article 88 doesn't speak about arrest. It speaks about prosecution. And the point I am making is that the initiation of every criminal prosecution in this matter is at the behest of the Attorney General. And the Attorney General is a representative of the President. The Attorney General is a member of the executive exercise. Please, can you keep quiet? Can you be disciplined? What is this? I was quiet when he was speaking. Can you be disciplined? Can you be disciplined?
You asked questions.
Can you be disciplined? Can you be disciplined? I was quiet when he was speaking. Can you be disciplined?
He asked questions.
This is gross indiscipline. No, this is gross indiscipline.
I need to interrogate.
This is gross indiscipline.
That's what I'm asking. Was it the same?
Can he keep quiet?
No, you don't keep quiet.
That I called him.
Can he keep quiet?
That's fine. So I just asked a simple question. Was it the same under you?
Okay.
Was it the same?
The Attorney General is a representative of the President.
Yes.
Is he not? Is he not?
Because he's appointed. I mean,
no, is the Attorney General not a representative of the President? Is he not?
I would have.
Is the Attorney General not appointed by the President? Is the Attorney General not exercising executive power? What does Article 58 talk about executive power?
It was the same thing.
What does Article 58 talk about? He makes the point and ignorantly equates the same thing to the democracy how protesters. Were they arrested and prosecuted under Section 207 and 208 of Act 29? They were not. They were not. They were arrested and prosecuted for a different offense. The conversation this morning is about the criminalization of free speech. And Emefa, as I land, respectfully before you ask your question, as I land, the statement you just read from the Vice President, it's a very spot-on statement. And let me reiterate this, that all officers who are at the behest and working at the behest of the government and implementing these orders from the government, their term of office is coterminous to that of President Mahama. Their term of office is coterminous to that of President Mahama. All officers who arrest persons and impose unreasonable bail conditions on them, their term of office is coterminous to that of President Mahama. And so they can continue to do so.
Okay.
They can continue to romance the government. They can continue to work at the humongous pleasure and satisfy the ego of the government. They can continue to do so. But I am saying this, that their term of office is coterminous to President Mahama. The very day President Mahama leaves office is the very day their service comes to an end. They should continue acting in an unconstitutional manner. I haven't landed, but if your time is up, I can give the time. I can see the time to you. But the point I'm making is that they can continue acting in a criminal manner. They can continue acting in an unconstitutional manner. They can continue weaponizing and criminalizing free speech. They can continue imposing unreasonable bail conditions. But the very day President Mahama leaves office, they should know that they are going with President Mahama.
Okay, that's noticed. On this table, I like to think that we're not here trying to seek an interpretation to 208 and 207. Because then how then do we situate or how then do we discuss the matters that were not prosecuted? For example, if somebody barged here,
But Emefa, your own topic about the point you're making is not accurate. The point you're making is not accurate. No, but you can make your point. You can make your point.
All of us is the host. I'm allowed to talk.
I'm not allowed to do that.
I really can't see how we could have discussed Article 208, 207, and even the Electronic Communications Act.
Without Baumia's
Anthony.
Put some respect on his name. You should put some respect on his name.
Dr. Baumia.
What is without Baumia's statement? You should put some respect on his name.
Dr. What
form of arrogance is this?
I'm saying that.
Arrogance is this?
Why you don't say you never said
Lies ill your mouth to say that I'm destroying cancer.
It's needless show of bravado.
Lies grossly ill your mouth to say so.
I'm saying that whilst, of course, in discussing the issues of law, you must point to the law that you're discussing. I really do not see how we couldn't have discussed the symptoms and the repercussions of our actions. Because, of course, there's some people that were invited. For example, no.
Law deals with what is stipulated in the very law you are talking about. Law doesn't deal with symptoms. Respectfully, if you say we are talking about law here, law doesn't deal with symptoms. Respectfully, Emefa. Respectfully. No, we are discussing law. We are discussing the criminalization of free speech.
Otherwise, we'll be in court.
We are discussing the criminalization of free speech.
Emefa. And kill that.
But Prof, let me... And lawyer, both of you, this statement was uttered by Assistant Superintendent of Police District Commander at Lambinsi. It was an invitation by the police to, let me read. It's dated 8th April 2026. The District Police Commander wishes to invite you, Mr. Shamna, to assist in an ongoing investigation related to a WhatsApp post you made on a platform yesterday, Friday, at the time that he issued the statement, about 7:56 a.m. against Honorable MCE for Nalerugu Gambaga, Mr. Breche David Bukari. To wit, disgrace MC, that he even fit to be MC self, ? If not Narugu Gambaga, without any provocation, please, you're kindly requested to report to the district commander to talk peace and assist in investigation on Tuesday. And they put a date and they said counting on your cooperation. I have seen more than 2-3 lawyers say that this invitation is not in the right direction.
It's unlawful.
It's unlawful. What are you inviting the person
What's
for?
the date on this invitation?
It's 8th April 2026. How do I discuss the conversation of publishing? Because this matter was a WhatsApp. He hasn't been prosecuted, charged under any law at all yet. But this came up for us to discuss. How on God-given earth do we discuss 207, 208, and other provisions without these kind of symptoms that can amount to what you are saying is the misconduct of the police? I can't see how it can be separated.
No, Emefa, you see
and I can be.
am I allowed to make a
please
point?
do.
Emefa, the point I want to make is that if the person at the end of the day is charged or arrested, you know, at the time of arrest, the arresting officer must inform you of the alleged offense you've committed. If this person is being arrested or has been arrested for the publication of false news, reason being that he has said something against the DC or the MC or whoever, then we can have a conversation under 207 or 208, because that means that the police is going to go to court by virtue of section 207 and 208. But the point I was making, which maybe you have taken out of context, is that no person can be charged for an offense without recourse to the law. The very moment the police decides to go to court, the police must decide to go to court. The police must decide to go to court based on a stated provision of law.
That's the point I'm making. That's the point I'm making. It's not. We're not debating this point.
Exactly.
We're not debating this point. We're debating the fact that they say some personnel are overzealous. We're debating the fact that we've weaponized, we have a list of things, a litany of things that we're discussing that has dominated.
You weaponized the law using things like this.
In the statement, there's no charging. Let me go to Prof first. Okay. Let me go to Prof first. I saw Prof.
No, on the issue of the whole topic, a simple rule. If you are going to Prof, don't allow him to stampede you. It's not his show. You are going to Prof, allow Prof to speak. Don't allow him to stampede you. Allow Prof to speak. Emefa is going to Prof. Let's respect the audience. What is this? What is this?
Of the topic.
No, what is this? You have invited Prof to speak and you want to stampede Prof. You want to stampede Prof.
Please mute their microphone.
Does he want to stampede Prof? Allow Prof to make his point.
Did you see Prof? Prof allowed it. Prof gave him a chance. Did you see? Both of you is mine. Both of you, your mics out. I want to hear Prof.
Making a point.
I will not allow him to stampede Prof. You should allow Prof to speak. Can you be quiet for Prof?
Their mics out.
Emefa has invited Prof to speak. Allow the good professor to make his point.
You know they don't.
Allow the good professor to make his point, and then you can make his point.
A simple reading of the topic.
You should allow professor to make his point.
I should allow both of you to keep quiet. I said I want to hear Prof.
Allow the good professor to make his point.
Don't worry, to be
allow Prof to make his point. It is not your time. Don't worry. I'll not allow you to stampede the professor. That's fine. When it's your time, you can make your point.
It's the topic.
We're educating people.
Even the
who are.
Can you keep quiet, Dinos?
I mean,
can you shut up and allow
knowledgeable in law, and those who don't even understand all these provisions, 201, 208, and all that. You know, I don't know whether we have learned the lessons across other countries. If I will make an attempt to go into the law matters, have we, as a country, studied what happened in Rwanda? Just one pronouncement from someone, the whole country torn apart. And today, we are saddled with the same issue. One allegation to another. Sometimes I think as a country, we are hypocrites. Yeah, we are. We are hypocrites. We know the cause, we know the fundamental issues. You wake up in the morning, a small boy or girl on social media can just say anything anyhow. And it's gone. We are sometimes become hypocrites. I gave you an account of someone who insults almost everybody. The person came to Ghana here, was allowed to go free.
Or is it Kevin Taylor?
You're not allowed to ask Prof questions.
I don't know the person, Prof. I'm asking Prof.
If he wanted to say the name, he would say.
And I'll say yes.
No. It's Kevin Taylor.
Yes.
Okay.
This man will insult everybody. Came to Ghana here, was allowed to go free. So we are not encouraging some of these comments and statements from this individual because we teach people. We tell them how to talk, to speak, how to relate to people. A grown-up person, a former president, insulted. Current administration, the president, has equally been insulted by other people. The vice president, the former vice president, even the vice president, have all been insulted before. But it is an issue that that same person walks into the country and is voted, it's gone. Today, you are arresting everybody. So sometimes, Emefa, we become hypocrite as a country.
In wrapping up on this topic and moving on, lawyer, there's a little challenge to how the David Isando, that's the same name of the guy, right? You see, David Isando. So the challenge and the question people are asking, why arrest somebody or invite somebody who's in a different region and then you have to transport the person all the way to Accra here for what particularly? That's a concern. In what law, legally, does the police really have that power to want to say, well, we think you committed a crime here, but we're transporting you to the headquarters or wherever it is? Which provisions really allows them that? Then you would be under the impression that he only made a post and then the BNI picked him up. Because when I spoke to Henry Nanabi on the show, the impression I got was that he made a WhatsApp post. He made a post, social media post, actually, Facebook post. And since then, a particular date on a time, they don't know what he's whereabouts. It will be later they said that the BNI had released him. How do you assess the treatment of this particular case, not that Bronya case, this particular one?
That's exactly the point we are making. I think we all agree here, Kwesi included, that we do not subscribe. Now I have to mention your name. Allow me to speak. Kwesi Boche. Exactly.
He doesn't like it to mention his name.
I'm going to mention his name.
No, but if he doesn't like it, it's okay. He's not comfortable. No, he's not comfortable with it.
Listen.
Are you issuing a directive here?
I think we all agree. Kwesi Boche included.
But why not Prof? Why not Anthony?
We all agree.
Why not me?
Kwesi Boche included.
Mongo's appetite for mentioning not Prof. You cancel.
I think all of us here, Kwesi Boche included.
Okay.
Make your point.
Maybe the point might be a good one.
No, he should make his point.
Then maybe it favors the NPP. You never know.
No, not necessarily.
Okay, let's hear.
But make your point.
Let's hear you, lawyer.
You see, that we all agree here that we ought to fight against the weaponization of this law.
Okay.
The weaponization of institutions to curtail our rights to free speech. I think there's an agreement here. I think the differences we've had is whether or not some people have the credibility to be leading that charge, especially with regard to how they handled the issue.
And this is where I depart from. I was trying to make an analogy that if I invited the cameraman here and he made the same and authored the same thing that Dr. Baumia authored, would the conversation be different? Would the demands be different?
You see, the fact that we are saying that it is weaponized is because of the unfair nature or the lack of consistency in how the law is applied.
Okay.
You get a picture. Okay. Because it seems to look as if from 2025. It's just a group of people who are being, who are having the issue of this law being applied to them. And that's why I said, and I'm glad my brother here made an emphatic position that he disagrees with the law. And a chunk of his argument was with the lack of credibility of the NPP to speak about what is happening. But having said that, I think all of us as Ghanaians need to renew our fidelity to the principles of our constitution. And I'm calling that we have a deliberate look at the political culture in this country. My brother here did not lose time to speak about the universities recalling certificates. I disagree with that view. But having said that, I agree with his view that actions ought to be taken to correct this fundamental defect with how we apply or our fidelity to our constitutional principles. My personal view is that we ought to look at our political culture. And in that course, I think that there's a huge obligation on the political parties themselves. Because the function of a political party is not just to win power, but the function also of a political party is to cause a radical change in cultures, or to create cultures that will place us in a better position to sustain this constitutional democracy, which, in my opinion, is one of the easiest ways in which the purpose of the constitution, which is to guarantee our right to life, our right to our freedoms, and our right to pursue our own happiness, can be sustained. And so, for instance, where actors in their political parties, in the various political parties, have made statements which are inimical to the spirit and values of our constitution, then the obligation is on the political party to exact some punishment on those people. Indeed, probably even to suspend or to sack them. But the political party seems to fuel that culture by hailing people who make statements which are inimical to our constitution. Indeed, when the NPP makes a statement that they are going to take revenge, what they are telling us is that they are going to take actions in future which are against the very spirit.
Did they say revenge? Let me just check the statement.
They are going to hold those persons accountable.
Listen, have you not heard the NPP say when they come to power, they're going to do similar? Have you not heard those statements?
No,
we shouldn't be hypocritical about this. When the NPP says that, listen, when we come to power, we are going to also breach or use Section 207 and 208. What they are telling us is...
To be fair on them, he's making the inference. He says that's how he understands.
You see, when they make you do...
So strong is the inference that even couching your topic, that is what you say.
Well, anyway, we've gone past that stage.
That even editorial policy, it means revenge. So strong is the inference.
We're asking the question,
when they say that, what they are telling Ghanaians is that, listen, when we get a chance of sponsoring a president for this country, we are going to breach the terms of the Constitution of Ghana. We are going to attack.
I kind of really trust the audience.
You see, we are going to undermine the values, the principles that underpins the constitution of this country. Okay. And for me, that is problematic because I'm saying this topic is one that ought to be treated without partisanship. Because this is something that affects the very foundation of our constitution. And it requires that all of us as Ghanaians come together to reaffirm our commitment to the terms of the constitution we took upon ourselves by debunking and deciding that, listen, we want leadership that will not weaponize our institutions. And that requires that we ought to strengthen the police, we ought to strengthen the Attorney General, because contrary to what my brother here is saying, even though the Attorney General is an executive, if the Attorney General is going to act in accordance with the Constitution, then I do not believe that the Attorney General, instead of advising the President as to the legalities or not, or the constitutional, or the Constitution, will sit down and allow any President to ask the Attorney General to go against the terms of that very Constitution. I don't think any Attorney General or any lawyer worth their salt will allow that. But from what it tells me is that if there's a time for us to renew our commitment to strengthen institutions, because all these institutions were created so that we can achieve the purpose of our constitution, then the time is now.
So, the IA is pushing for full Ghanaian control after April 2027. You know.
Right. Yes.
I was of the opinion that you have actually exhausted your point. Do you have other? Are you responding to something, or you have
making additional?
Who are you responding to, and what exactly?
Everybody.
No, of course.
Within the limits of my time.
It's not that.
Within the limits of my time. I think it's just fair that everybody had a second.
Remind me, is it that I didn't give Julius the second?
We all had a second bite.
Yeah, second bite.
You did. Are
you guys friends after this?
Honest now, I'm giving
but
the second bite was embedded in the first bite.
For 20 minutes.
For 20 minutes.
Are you guys friends when you're not on
the only person who spoke for 20 minutes. All of us our time. He spoke for 20 minutes.
What do you want to respond to?
You see, Emefa, there are times that if we bring a bit of, candor
I want to hear what is responding to. If it's not needed, we'll move.
How?
No.
How?
It's not some. I keep saying this. It's not some equal timing, yo.
I've told you.
It's not equal. It's equitable. No.
I've told you. Kwesi's aim is to. You are in the chair.
I want to know what Anthony is responding to be honest. What is it? Yeah.
You see, we should bring candor to the conversations. The reason why I said we should bring candor to the conversation is that if we bring candor to the conversation...
Wait, let me check the meaning of candor.
We can honesty.
Okay.
If we bring honesty to the conversation, we can agree on the baselines where we are all on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
And we can identify where our differences are. We can argue out the differences if we wish, and then we depart.
It'll be a nice place to land.
There's
a but.
Emefa.
It'll be a nice place to land.
Why do you want to prevent mine?
No, I'm not preventing it.
Please, Emefa.
I want to know, is it different from your initial submissions?
Yes, it is. It is. So if you allow me, please, I beg you, if you allow me, respectfully. If we bring candor, we can identify where the baseline agreements are, where the divergent views are, and then we can agree to disagree if we need be, and then we depart.
Yeah.
The baseline here is that Prof, myself, and the two lawyers agree that we need to relook at these laws within the broader framework of the 1992 Constitution. Do we all agree on that baseline?
You said this earlier.
We do. I'm making a point. And then we are here to have this conversation today because per your framing, I am quoting the journey's framing on the flyer you sent us, criminalizing free speech, a case for law or abuse. NPP threatens revenge. So strong is the influence of revenge from Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's statement that even Joy News Editorial, when they were deciding the topic, made that inference in the topic they have given us. But today,
be a good boy.
Today in this studio, we are denying an inference from a statement that is so strong that when editorial decisions are being made, in one of the most credible, if you would permit me.
And fearless, independent, and I've made that point already.
Emefa,
when you graduate as a lawyer, but I'm saying that the point, I think we are we all not on the same page?
Let me land the point.
Okay, land in a few seconds.
So clear is the inference of revenge from the statement that when you were making your editorial decision on choosing the topic, this is the framing of the topic.
Are you scared of revenge?
But today, I am not. I don't fear compliance.
Don't respond. Make the point.
I don't fear compliance with the law. So strong is that inference that this is the topic you gave us. We are being told on this platform that in discussing this topic of free speech, its attack, law or abuse of same, and the threat of revenge, we should not speak to events that happened in 2024.
If what you are
people
doing
being arrested for protesting and raising things. You are talking about free speech. And you are saying that protest, where someone went to raise a flag, a banner, that open UGMC now, and the person was arrested for it, should not be discussed.
Anthony, I think we've made progress on that topic.
Spare me, you are saying it should not be discussed. So the statement, is so clear to everybody. And what Dr. Bawumia is saying, that during his imaginary presidency, during his imaginary presidency, during his 2029, he is going to abuse law in this country.
That's not what he said.
That is what he's saying.
That's not what he said.
That he is going to abuse.
You fix your conversation that we should.
And I want to
look at what you are saying. You are the most dishonest politician in this country. You.
So let's
you are the most dishonest politician. You are the kind of lies you are telling on
this is why I've said that the people who should be discussing this matter should be my cameraman, who is not a politician. I don't trust you people. So IEA pushes for Kwesi. I'm starting with you. Kwesi, I'm starting with you on this. Because you're sitting by me. Why go far when you're by me? What's the point? IEA pushes for full Ghanaian control after April 2027, and this is on the TACO lease. Just to give you a brief on that, the Institute of Economic Affairs is called on the government not to extend the mining lease of Goldfields Ghana for the TACO mine, urging the state to pursue full Ghanaian ownership and strategic control of the country's mineral resources. And you know by now that Justice Akufo has been very keen on the fact that we should own a large chunk of our... Yeah, you do, huh?
I love
Yeah, quite a tough woman. Says that we shouldn't renew that push for 20-year extension again. And the question to all of us is that, Kwesi, do we have the muscle to operate such big mining concessions? Do we?
I think that, in all sincerity and with the greatest of respect to members of the IEA, I think that what the conversation should be now should be focused on strengthening regulation, transparency, and boosting investor confidence. Prof made a very fundamental point that in all of this discussion, what is the end goal? Is the end goal to drive away investors or to invite more investors? And sincerely, I do not think that it is in the interest of this country to say we are nationalizing all our mining resources. Currently, if you take the companies, the mining firms that actually have the capacity to undertake such huge, mining investment, there are just a few of them. And even a few of them do so by partnering with the foreign companies. And so I do not think that at this material moment, the nationalization of our mineral resources is actually the important way to go now. Sincerely, I agree that it will get to a point that we need to nationalize our resources. I agree that we need to nationalize our resources. But again, I'll call for a broader stakeholders engagement on this matter, because under the guise of nationalizing our state resources, today we have the president's brother, who is the owner and founder of Engineers and Planners, take over one of the largest mining resource concessions in this country, the Damine concession. And you have the president in a very comical way say that he recused himself from the cabinet meeting. The cabinet only advises the president. Executive power is vested in the president. In this country, we do not practice the Westminster system of governance. We practice executive presidency. It is the president who has handed over the Damai mine to his brother under the guise of nationalizing the mine, without us even going through the right processes of law. You open a tender for 4 working days, demanding about $500 million as the requirement for the tender, and at the end of the day, you give it to the president's brother, and suddenly we need to have the conversation about nationalizing our mining resources. I think it's a good point. However, the fundamental point should be on transparency. Are we nationalizing our mines so that at the end of the day, we award all mining resources to the president's brother? Like already 3 mining concessions have been awarded to him. The Blackwater mining concession at the Savannah region, the Upper East region, has been given to the president's brother. You go to Takwa, the mining concession there has been given to the president's brother, and now Damai. So he has 3 concessions under 50 months. I
need to check with Shandov if this is all of these concessions.
Yes, you can check with him. They are matters of public knowledge. Yeah. Yes, you can check with him. And so I think that the conversation, Blackwater, Damai, and then Takwa.
During the presidency of John Dramani Mahama is Damai.
No,
I come to you. We're doing fine. We're doing absolutely fine by holding yourself till it's your turn. Okay.
And so the point I'm making is that the Blackwater mining concession, the EMP company took over the concession under the presidency of John Dramani Mahama. Forcefully took over the concession under the presidency.
Forcefully?
Yes. And if you want us to go into the takeover of the Blackwater, I can take you through, because we used to be lawyers for the holders of the concession. And so I can take you through the process, but I'm sure we do not have the time.
I have the time
but on record. But on record. Yes,
I'll give you
record.
time.
So the concession belongs to Azuma Resources. The owner of Azuma Resources is a white guy. And this white guy, through a partnership, has incorporated a local company with local directors. EMP expressed interest in partnering with Azuma Resources because, you know, by virtue of Act 706, the Mining and Minerals Law, a portion of your mining operations needs to be awarded to a local firm. That is the local content participation. Yeah. And usually the local content participation has to do with the provision of machinery for haulage, transportation, and all those kind of things. So EMP expressed interest in partnering with Azuma Resources, of which Azuma Resources agreed that by virtue of the requirement of law, which was passed in 2016, that every mining concession in this country needs to have a bit of local content participation, agreed to partner with EMP. Fast forward, EMP expressed interest in acquiring the concession from Azuma Resources, which Azuma Resources categorically refused. Subsequently, in 2025, after President Mahama assumed office, suddenly, now we see that EMP has taken over Azuma Resources. Azuma Resources has issued several press statements to say that they do not subscribe to the takeover of the Blackwater project. But you know what they did? So when they formed the partnership, EMP appointed 2 members onto the board of Azuma Resources. And those board members who are EMP workers are the ones who were issuing press statements on behalf of Azuma Resources. Azuma Resources is on record to have said times without number that they have never engaged EMP to give their concession to them.
I know
they have never done so.
I know that this matter has been discussed and debated, I mean, over the period, I mean, news file on this platform and all of that. This process, did it begin and end in this era?
Yes.
I know that it's it was finalized in 2026.
Yes.
The final buyout was done in 2005.
Yes, it was.
2025.
Yes, it was.
Anyway, that was just by the way.
Yes,
so you think
and
that...
so the point I'm making is that under the guise of nationalizing our resources, today we are gifting all our huge mining concessions to the president's brother, which I think that it's not proper. I do not subscribe to the fact that your brother is a politician, and so if your brother is in government, you shouldn't be allowed to operate or you shouldn't be allowed to function as a businessman. You should be allowed to do so. I am not one of the proponents who think that because Ibrahim Mohammed's brother is the president and so his business shouldn't go. His business should go on. In any case, he's employing Ghanaians. I am not against that. But what I am against is the opaque nature in which the mining concessions are given to him. How can you open a mining tender, a bid for a mining concession for just 4 working days, when the standard international practice is to open such tenders for about 6 months? How do you do that in 4 days? And so all these things will raise suspicions, and you have former workers of EMP working at the top hierarchy of the Minerals Commission, the regulator, the current deputy CEO of Minerals Commission,
so because
used to be the legal counsel of EMP. You see, the entire transaction...
Because of fear of maybe one person who probably will be closer to power taking over concessions like this, we're not ready as a country to... fully operationalize our own natural resources. These are the challenges.
But sincerely, that's what I'm saying, that usually when some of these conversations come up, you realize that under the guise of nationally, operating the mine, it ends up in the hand of one Ghanaian. What I think is that, and what Dr. Bawumia's approach or Dr. Bawumia's message was in 2024 in his manifesto, is that he thinks that our mining concessions, most of the large mining concessions, should be operated by the government. BOG has the capacity to purchase mining equipment, to undertake mining, so that at the end of the day, the gold itself will remain with the government so that the government can actually benefit from our mining resources firsthand. And that is his approach. Okay. And so, Emefa, I think that it's a good call. However, at this material time, I don't think that we are rightly positioned and rightly placed to undertake such an exercise. Let's have a broader conversation about it. Let's have broader stakeholders conversation about it. But considering the way things are going now in the mining sector growth, declining and all that, I do not think that it is within the national interest to actually do this at this material time.
Okay, lawyer.
Yeah, so I think, first of all, I need to correct an impression. My learned friend here keeps on using nationalization.
Sorry?
As my learned friend here keeps on using nationalization. I think what I is recommending is not nationalization. Okay. Because nationalization essentially is the process by which government takes ownership of private property. Nationalization can happen whether the property, the privately owned property is Ghanaian or foreign. Okay. So, and our constitution is expressly against nationalization or expropriation. So when you use, so technically, when you say nationalization, it's the process by which government, the state, takes ownership of a privately owned company. And that can be done whether or not that privately owned company is a Ghanaian-owned company or a foreign-owned company.
Then it will be me introducing it.
That's what I'm saying. I want us to be sure. I just want to be sure. That is.
But he comes back to land on the point. But for the question.
But even his explanation to nationalization, in the broader perspective, is not accurate. But he's allowed to.
Accurate. Nationalization is
in the broader perspective. In the broader
listen.
Today I won't allow you to go into the broader perspective. I won't allow you to broaden it out. You stay another scope.
Listen. Okay. And that's why I also use the word expropriation.
I don't think I should.
That's why I also use the word expropriation.
So I want to listen. What are we now?
No. Listen, that's I need to make this. Okay. So first of all, what IA is saying isn't that the state should take over privately owned mines. That's not what IA is saying. My understanding of what IA is saying is that Ghanaians should take the commanding heights of our mining industry. That simply means that they expect Ghanaians to be the people investing, Ghanaian capital, investing in the mining business.
No, go on. A minute when it's down to respond to what he's saying.
That's my understanding of what IA is saying. You understand? And if my understanding is right, then I agree with the point.
Why don't you make reference?
Please.
Is that?
No, the topic that no, but
they're not too far off from each other, to be honest. Yeah, they
I know exactly what I'm talking about. I know exactly what I'm talking about. No, I know exactly what I'm talking about. But you see, because the purpose of what is also to educate the media. And that's what I'm saying. That people ought to understand the meaning of nationalizing. It's not about Ghanaians owning what's called the mining. Nationalization is the state, the government taking over privately owned businesses. We all need to make that point clearly. And listen,
for clarity, okay. Emefa, with your permission, you are aware that all mineral resources are owned by the government.
Yes.
Invested in the president.
Yes.
And so before the government can actually, or before anybody can actually own a mining concession, it is the government that will give it to you.
Exactly.
And so the nationalization, that is why it comes in. Because it is owned by the government. And the government decides to give it to A or decides to give it to B.
Let's not.
Decides to give it to A or decides to give it to B. And Goldfields and all the other companies are private companies. They are all private companies. And so government taking over. And so government taking over.
I gave you permission. Wait.
Somebody's screaming here.
For purposes of ambiguity, let's not major on. I know you know the concept we're discussing.
No, but you see,
so the education is good.
When you talk about nationalization, it's there from Ghanaians owning mine. There are two different things.
From the Google
listen, and that's why I also expanded to expropriation.
He's speaking.
Expropriation.
Do a reference.
Listen.
You see. So stay. I want to hear lawyer now.
Listen. You see, Kosiboche, try and be humble. You see, I don't want to
very humble.
No, you are not.
I'm very humble.
You are very arrogant. You see, and that's why I'm saying that. In fact, I can explain.
You are making the wrong analysis, and I'm guiding you. I'm going to be arrogant.
When you talk about nationalization, he kept on saying nationalization. And I can expand even nationalization to expropriation. And nationalization and expropriation are frowned upon by our constitution. So we should use our words guidedly.
That is guided.
And I'm saying that what I understand about what IEA is saying is that Ghanaians, they wish that Ghanaians would take the commanding heights of our mining sector. And I'm saying that if that's the point they're making, then for me, I do not agree with them entirely. In the sense that should be our ultimate purpose. Our ultimate purpose is to create an economy where Ghanaians will have the resources to invest or take the commanding heights of our mining sector. But as things stands now, the interest of the state should be to attract all manner of investments, not only Ghanaian investments. You get the picture. So for me, I think that if the plan, if the program is that we are going to run our economy, if government is deliberately going to make policies, if our intermediation sector, being the banks and our finance houses, are going to focus on making capital available to Ghanaians to take the commanding heights of our mining sector, then the benefits, as in there can be a debate as to the extent of how that will benefit Ghana. But having said that, where we are as a country now, we shouldn't behave in a manner that will drive away foreign investments. And we should put in place policies that will attract all manner of capital into the country, whether local or whether foreign. But the long-term strategy ought to be to build our economy such that Ghanaians will be so empowered financially to take the commanding heights of all sectors of our economy, including mining. And if that's the strategy, now I believe that ought to be the strategy, then I think that we will all be, all of us ought to be aligned to that strategy.
Okay, thank you, Anthony.
Thank you. On this particular issue of Ghanaians acquiring the larger interest in our mining sector, I think I align largely with the views as expressed by Council. And indeed, I need to correct a few things about this whole idea that the President of the Republic is pursuing this effort as a way of handing over mining concessions and all manner of things to Mr. Ibrahim Muhammad. When Kwesi was speaking, Kwesi suggested that we are not ready yet for Ghanaians to, as it were, take over our mining sector completely. Why? I'm willing to entertain your thoughts within my time. Why?
I'll answer you. Make your point. I don't want.
Oh no, I would want to. I would want to hear the reason.
I don't want your time.
Why?
The question definitely will not be for only Kwesi. There may be viewers out there who want to. So just leave the question.
So that because the reason I want to get the clarification. Why so? And I think that both he and Council in their presentation alluded to the reasons. Financial and capacity constraint. And so they are alluding to fear that if you move into nationalize, as it were, you will drive away investment. You know what that also implies for Ghanaian companies that are presently operating? What it implies is that they are the ones with capacity. That is what it logically implies. There would be no attempt successfully to dispute that without defying logic and sanity itself. So if you just go about this whole tangent of the person is the president's brother and he has acquired a concession and all of those things as a way of creating a certain impression as though somebody is pursuing a policy for private benefits and all of those things, I think you should bring the context, but you should put it back into the things you yourself you are saying as reasons for saying we should not move in to nationalize wholly immediately and see if the logic lands properly. Under the presidency of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, engineers and planners, that was the operational engine behind the Damine mine at the time, was recommended by Goldfields themselves as the entity with the operational capacity to take over the mine. In fact, it was pursuant to that the then Lance Minister, the Honorable Jinapo, wrote, a no objection letter at the time. It was pursuant to that. Why? President Mahama, as opposition leader, was responsible for that as well. Why do we do this? Why do we, in the name of politics, do this? Outside of this studio, if you were to ask Kwesi Bochwe or any NPP person about the capacity of engineers and planners to run the mines that they have gotten concessions for, you'll say, oh, of course. They are the best in the country. They'll admit it. But when they come to the public domain and in the media, just because of politics and propaganda, we must bastardize. You in one voice say that we shouldn't go in and nationalize because Ghanaians are not ready. Then the few ones that are ready, you are attacking them because of their relationship with certain people.
It says I'm
saying so. Apologies. Emefa. I was hosted by Sewa yesterday. So Sewa all the time. I was hosted by Sewa yesterday. That's fine. Emefa.
She's a fine woman. Yeah.
Oh please.
Don't mind. He's being sarcastic here. Yeah.
Emefa. Yeah. Does it make logical sense?
Yeah.
That you can in one voice say that we don't rush into national because you will scare foreigners. But the few Ghanaians that are ready, you bastardize them because of their relationship with other people.
Do you agree to the impression he draws our attention to? That it might create the impression that because he's the president's brother.
How long? It is not. It is not. Did you read the no objection letter by Honorable Jinapo when he was Minister for Lands?
What the letters?
Did you read the recommendation of Goldfields at the time? In fact, if you query Kwesi Bochwe himself here and now about his view of the operational capacity of engineers and planners, you think he will tell you they are incapable? He won't tell you that. But the same Kwesi Bochwe went on to say that we shouldn't move in to completely nationalize because we don't have enough Ghanaians with the capacity to take over. And so if we do that, it will drive away foreign investment. But the few Ghanaians who have the capacity, we should bastardize them because they have relations with the president. Does it make sense?
Does it not centralize ownership in just very few?
Is it let me
going by his analogy.
Yes, let me take it again. Kwesi Bochwe argues that do not move into completely nationalize because you don't have enough Ghanaians with the capacity to run it without the state losing the gains from our mining sector, and that already our gains from the mining sector is reducing. Then the same Kwesi Bochwe is arguing that the few Ghanaians who have the capacity are only getting it because of their association with the president. Does the logic land for you? The implication of Kwesi Bochwe's own analogy is that the Ghanaians with the capacity are not even enough. That is the implication of his own analogy. So why is it that the very few Ghanaians with the capacity, you identify one by reason of his relationship with the president, and you start bastardizing their operations when all the objective markers have not objected to that, and you say that tendering. In fact, if you read our Minerals and Minings Act, I think Section 5, I may be mistaken, on the authority of the minister to issue mining leases and suspend same, etc. The requirement for tendering is not even there. But it is because of conduct the likes of Kwesi Bochwe that we open.
Never mind.
Please, I am responding to you. So what is wrong with?
I don't think it should be a problem.
I am speaking to. Why are you uncomfortable? Why are you jittery?
Doesn't matter. I want to hear you.
Why are you jittery?
Anthony, it's okay.
You've been mentioning my name. Why are you jittery?
Anthony,
why are you jittery?
Listen, Kwesi. Anthony has mentioned my name. Has mentioned my colleague Sewa. Has mentioned you. Yeah. Don't worry. It's okay. Just make progress. Anthony, make progress. We need to clarify.
You haven't made any fundamental point.
Anthony, this is not important. Just go on.
So, I mean, you would see the absence of, with all respect, logical reasoning in a certain proposition that don't nationalize because there isn't enough Ghanaians with the capacity and the financial resources. But the few ones, don't give it to them because they are related to people we don't like. It's a very unfortunate posture. And I really think that as a republic, as people who are interested in the forward march of this country, as people who are positioning ourselves, I believe so, to lead this country, to make the country progress, when it comes to these matters, we should bring some objective markers to play. There is nobody, and I repeat, there is nobody in Ghana who has ever questioned the technical competence of engineers and planners. There is nobody who is able to argue that giving them a mining lease would be contingent only on, President Mahama being president. Indeed, Mr. Ibrahim Mahama recently made a public statement about the instrumental role of President Akufo-Addo himself in that process. And the only reason why President Akufo-Addo will be instrumental in that process is because President Akufo-Addo understands that there are limits to the operational capacity of Ghanaians in the industry. And so if there is someone with the operational capacity, you let the person run. You don't make all these allusions to their relationships with people and all of these things we are saying. On summing up, I think that we all agree that it is in the best interest of Ghana that Ghanaians hold the commanding heights of our economy. Our minerals, more importantly, should be controlled by the Ghanaian people. Whether it is by a model where the state itself operates mines, or it is by a model where private Ghanaians operate mines. That is the ultimate point we must get to. Okay. But I also agree with counsel that the decisions must be taken in line with the present realities as we have them. If we decide that all our mining, the ones that are elapsing, should go to Ghanaian persons, then we would want to look at technical competence. Okay. We would want to look at divergence and all of those things, so that more people can enter that industry who are Ghanaians. But we also want to look at how we balance that with the need to attract, foreign investment, in light of the fact that we all also agree that presently we may not have private Ghanaians with enough resources to take about our mining, sector completely. So that balance, I believe, is what the president will be looking at ultimately in taking those decisions. Okay. So please, we should stop bastardizing the few Ghanaians who have the capacity to ensure that Ghanaians control, we exercise sovereignty over our national resources by reason only of politics. We should stop.
Prof, I need to break protocol. I'll come to you, just break protocol and come back to Kwesi. Because Kwesi, you know that this matter with EMP, when you sought to draw an analogy and also, explain your point, you know that this matter has been quietly and extensively discussed on this particular platform. And there's always a point of departure from these two people. EMP has maintained that their actions and inactions that contributed to their takeover started way before the current.
They've taken over all of them. Mining concessions. So which one are you talking about?
All of them.
Well, I won't be able to I think not Daman particularly only, the one that started with Azuma Resources and all of that. So just to give you an opportunity to clarify before I disassociate. Let's hear you.
You can disassociate yourself, but let me make the point. The point I'm making is that, one, it is a fact that EMP is an indigenous Ghanaian company. It's owned by a Ghanaian. It is a fact that EMP has been in the mining space for a while. It is also a fact that EMP is owned and founded by the president's brother. It is also a fact that he's been able to gain or secure 3 major mining concessions. That is the Blackwater project, the Sankofa Gold project in the Upper East region, and the Daman project under the presidency of his brother, the President John Dramani Mahama. These are all
facts. Sometimes I struggle to accept that an individual owns a company. I know that, there's shareholdings and all of that, because it's not a sole proprietor. It's just a challenge.
That is why I said clearly that he is the founder of the company. That is why I said clearly that he founded the company and he's the chief executive officer of the company. Don't you see him representing the company? And so the point I am making, I am not disputing the fact that EMP is an indigenous Ghanaian company. I am not disputing the fact that EMP has been in mining operations for some time now. What I am saying is that EMP has been able to secure 3 major mining concessions. My brother makes a point regarding the few Ghanaians that have the capacity. It is only a selected few, and EMP is one of the selected few who have been able to gain concessions by virtue of the fact that his brother or the brother of the founder of the company is the president. He makes reference to the no objection letter. Under no circumstance or under no point during the presidency of President Akufo-Addo did the last minister, Honorable Abu Jinapo, authorize EMP to take over
But we also know that under no circumstance.
I was quiet when you were here. I was quiet when you were here.
Let's be clear on this matter. There's history and context to this matter.
There's a difference between defining.
But as well, it's nowhere that I've heard that the current president was handed over.
It doesn't mean it has been.
Nobody. I need to make a point that is important.
Nobody is disputing the credibility of EMP. Nobody's disputing.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm saying, follow me, Anthony.
But the fact we are making,
my point really, which I want to draw your attention to, is that there's nowhere that we have read that the president handed over any concession.
It goes through a process.
That's all. We know the process.
Emefa, let me say it well. The government of the day has handed 3 major mining concessions to EMP, which is funded by the president's brother. And the person exercising the executive power of the government by Article 58 of the Constitution is President Mahama,
and so that
whose brother is the founder of EMP. That is the fundamental legal point here. Anybody can pursue any matter.
So that
anybody can pursue any matter. This is a fact. This is a fact. And this raises questions of transparency. Even tissue paper at Joy News here does not go through the procurement process of 4 days. Even the purchase of tissue paper doesn't go through the procurement process of 4 days. Doesn't go through the procurement process of 4 days.
All that requires it.
Then it means your minister acted unconstitutional by even opening the tender in the first place.
No, he could.
The fact that it's not a requirement
doesn't mean he could.
The minister acted unconstitutional.
I need to say that the commentaries of my panelists here, contributions are solely their comments, and does not necessarily represent the views of multimedia. And for that matter, Joy News. That's a disclaimer.
But I'm glad to have on record you say that no one is questioning the capacity of
now I have to go to Prof. Now you put the clarity.
You see the disclaimer?
I just need to go to Prof.
Yes, to have that on record.
You come to you. You see the disclaimer?
Wait, are you running this?
The disclaimer
No, it is Prof's time.
No, Anthony, don't do that. Anthony, don't do that.
Yes, Prof. No, he has been
Anthony, don't do that.
And we have allowed him to. He wants to run this. We will not allow that.
You are not arbitrary.
Nobody is going to allow that.
I'm sure you issue a disclaimer. I don't know whether a listener they heard that is because they were.
Issue it again.
Because you issued a disclaimer. I'm not sure they heard you.
Oh, they did. I muted their microphone.
I didn't hear you.
You didn't hear me. I'm saying that, of course, the views and contributions of my panelists here.
Now you are running away from a basic fact.
Excuse me.
On what? Why are you so basic on the point I made? What is the need for a disclaimer here?
No.
What is the need for a disclaimer here?
I'm telling you that there's nowhere in the history of this country that I've seen a president hand over. You thought to reiterate it and say it differently. I've not seen any president hand over any concession.
Who exercises executive power in this country?
It does go through a process.
Who exercises executive power?
But it does go through a process. That's all I want to say.
I've told you, his aim is to disrupt and waste the time.
Prof, let me hear you.
No, you've extended your time for us.
Yes. I mean, I've seen in this country a president's brother held a position in this country and all of that. I'm not here to hold brief for anybody.
Yes,
all I'm saying is that it goes through the process, and if you want to make the point and the process is there, you speak to the process. If you now want to interpret the process as well, let's just be clear. That's all. That's really all.
This is no issue at all. There's no issue. The problem is the fact that what happened yesterday is happening today. What was said yesterday is happening today. When this country, that some years ago, a young man, capable, had a lot of, or say has a lot of assets, wanted to acquire hotels, a lot of things were said. Today, it's happening. And that's why all of us, we are talking about this. There's no issue. But what happened yesterday, here happening today. And that's why we're having this conversation. IAA is a credible institution, standard. So we appreciate their comments and their presentations and all that we do. If we are to go by the submission from Council, Dankwa, Akufo-Addo, a good friend, that we are not talking about...
Who accuses me of...
That's my name. He said Council Dankwa, and some Council Dankwa.
Council Akufo-Addo.
I'm with you.
I think so.
The focus is not about the state or people occupying the state institutions. It's rather about encouraging Ghanaians to occupy commanding heights in the various institutions. If that's the bottom line, then we can follow that conversation going forward. Every individual in this country must be supported. A businessman or any other person must be supported. What is a joy in having a company proportion of ownership 80% by foreigners, 20% by local people? No. If they have the capacity to work, let's encourage them. Because they will recruit Ghanaians. After all, that's what they will do. So for me, that company we're talking about is an EMP, a solid businessman, has business across. And in the day, should be supported. But there's a thin line, and that's why we are having this conversation. That today, if I have a brother who is a president, and I support that president, my brother, on so many other areas, giving aircrafts and all that, and tomorrow, he tells me he needs a concession, he's applying for, what will be the moral part of it? That's another discussion we can have. But are you not surprised the recent call on these national issues? The gold, the mining companies, and now an institution has a voice. The call is that we should support. I don't know the recent demands and the calls to have these institutions to be occupied or to be taken over by Ghanaians. Go and check SIGA reports. It will then tell you how many institutions are struggling. Why are we not interested in those companies? I don't know if you chance on SIGA reports. It will give you a number of state institutions that are not making profit, that are not paying dividends, are not supporting, but you are still paying them by taxpayers' money every day. Why are these individuals not interested in those institutions? But we are interested in other companies. It's something we need to ask. I don't know. But if you keep championing the core, which is legitimate, that we should have individuals or Ghanaians having a commanding height in the various institutions, it's a good call. But sometimes we don't need to trumpet this too much, because for the other investors, the optics, if I want to bring in company or support an industry in Ghana here, and we are demanding or making such calls, what will be their perception after some number of years? Will those individuals be interested in investing funds into our country? There should be a playing field. If you are qualified, you are qualified. If you have the capacity to manage these institutions, fine, so be it. We should rather encourage and have a playing field. Now, all of us must go through the same process, whether a foreigner, whether a local, we must go through that process thoroughly. If you are given, it's fair. We won't come here and be talking about it. But I still come back to my question, Emefa. People should check the SIGA, those investors who are interested, acquiring lands, mines, and all those things, should look at the SIGA report, identify those institutions that are struggling, and also invest. It's a good call.
And not just sit at one sector of the economy.
It's overflowed.
Okay, just so we're on the same page. So it's not that IAA is not supporting international investments or all that, right?
I even wanted to come.
That's
Prof, I have just read the full statement of the IEA.
Yeah.
And in fact, to be very fair with the IEA, what they specifically called for is increased local content participation.
Participation.
They never said that the mineral resources should be nationalized or should be taken over by Ghanaians. All what they are calling for is an increased local content, which we all support. But Prof, then
which sits significantly under the call of not agreeing to renew the 20-year extension of Goldfields. Oh, yes, did you see the point where we can depart from?
Yes. But
they say that shouldn't.
But they didn't say that we should nationalize our mineral resources. Because even when we talk about mineral resources, it's not just about goldfields, but they only mentioned gold. So let's be fair to them that they only called for increased local content participation, which I think, like Prof has rightly mentioned, is a good call. But Prof, the point I also want to suggest is that as we call for increased local content participation or increased Ghanaian participation, let's not also do it by in a very opaque manner to, in a deliberate way, try to, twist the hands of other Ghanaians so they do not benefit from our mineral resources. And Prof, I say so because you take the Damai issue, for instance, devoid of any political connotation.
Let me just to be fair, honestly, just to be fair about them,
let me make them point.
Both of you.
We are not going to have landed. You see, no. If you want,
I will.
Under the guise of landed. But I haven't landed. No one has given you. But I haven't landed.
None of you should land. None of you should land.
Ask for your time.
None of you should land. Please mute their microphones. Mute their microphones.
We are not going to allow this.
Are the microphones
you mentioned my name.
Yeah.
I was actually.
You are really. Your microphones are muted. Nobody can hear you.
We should really litigate it.
Nobody can hear the two of you. Nobody is hearing the two of you. I'm the only person they're hearing. I am the only person they're hearing. Yes. I am the only person they're hearing. Yeah.
It's not a matter of veto power.
I am actually saying that I agree that in trying to analyze this matter, the mentioning of companies would come in, to be fair. But I like to think that this can be discussed very fairly and squarely with the genuine request of the IEA.
The fundamental points have already been made. And to come back now and be making,
the two of you, we're ending the discussion on this matter.
And be making claims of opacity.
Prof was supposed to have the last one on this. We're ending the discussion on this matter. Let's go to the Asante matter.
You don't moderate the show.
Emefa, do I have no, not on this matter. Not on this matter. We're making progress to the
economy. He doesn't want to talk about the economy. That's why he's doing all those.
No, we're talking about the Asante Achim North MP detention.
Yeah. The economy. He wants to kill the time because he doesn't want to talk about the economy.
Yeah, today I'm making time. We're going all the way and wrapping. Yeah. Sorry. Yes, I just want to have initial comments on the Asante Achim North MP, and then we can proceed to that 7.7% increase in our economy. Okay. Lawyer, let me start with you. Let me not start with Kwesi.
What about the Asante Achim matter?
Yeah, so the different legs of it. People say that it's too early to be talking about by-elections.
Yeah, because.
But what do you anticipate?
Yeah, because personally, I don't even know why he's been arrested.
You don't know?
Yeah, why has he been arrested?
It's linked to international.
Okay, so the U.S. as of now, so in fact, let me read. The U.S. as of now is alleged to have issued a warrant, okay, for his extradition to the U.S. And then he was detained at Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam for syndicated fraud and romance scam.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's
official.
No, there's no official charge. Yet. I'm not reading a charge.
So it is speculative.
Yes. But I want to read to you what will make it more non-speculative because of what his lawyers have said so far. That they are pursuing. I want to just read comments of that. Okay, great. So lawyers for Hene Kwame Frimpong say the Asante Achim North MP is challenging his detention at Schiphol Airport, insisting the ongoing legal process involves no formal charges against him. So what we know is that indeed he's been detained. Parliament of Ghana has confirmed that it has come to their attention that Asante Achim North MP has been detained. Okay. Now, according to Elvis Edu Ameya, one of the MP's lawyers, the detention followed a warrant reportedly issued by a magistrate court in the state of Illinois in the United States, seeking Mr. Frimpong's extradition for interrogation. Now, speaking on an interview, he said that he is currently in Amsterdam handling the matter. That's the lawyer. He stressed that the MP remained innocent until proven guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction. Mr. Mayor maintained that the warrant issued at the request of U.S. authorities did not contain any formal charges against the MP, contrary to speculation circulating publicly. He explained that any decision by Dutch authorities to execute the extradition request by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which you know as FBI, would depend on established international extradition procedures. So what we don't know is the charges. What we know is he's indeed detained.
Yeah, then I think for now all I can say is what his lawyer said. That you see, we should treat the matter, or we should treat him as innocent until proven guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction. I think your interest and interest of a number of people is whether or not an incident has occurred that can trigger what's called.
But if he misses the 15 days period in Parliament.
But he would have reason. The 15 days is without
permission.
So I'm sure by now, or if I'm him, I would communicate to Parliament that because of ABCD, I'm unable to, and that will not trigger what's it called, a by-election as it were. I'm sure what will trigger a by-election if he is convicted. I think we have a president before. As in we have a president. The case of the Goso, former Goso MP.
But in Kwanzaa North, what's Goso? Are you talking about Erica Martin?
Yes, he was in Kwanzaa
North, yeah.
Who was convicted, and as a result of that, there was a by-election. So for me, as
you too.
Two, and who else?
And there's also one case that had to do with the dual citizenship.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Burkina Faso hasn't had. So let's hold our horses. Let the process take its course. And I think the bigger picture is, and this may be speculative, if it has to do with romance, fraud, and all those things, then I think we must strengthen our laws on lifestyle audit also.
Yeah.
As in lifestyle audit. And that call, for me, should also be extended to our politicians also. The lifestyle audit issue. Because there are too many instances of, a politician, and within a year of coming to power, there's a radical change in lifestyle. I think it's to curtail some. But up until that, I think that
that's just so minimal to say about the.
Yeah, we just have to hold our horses.
Okay, Anthony.
Allow the process to take its normal course.
I think that it's quite unfortunate for the people of that constituency that their representative is found in this situation, whether or not there are merits to the case. I would not speak to that side of it. My reason is because he has been very hardworking since his election in that constituency, trying to demonstrate to the people that his election was not a mistake, even though he ran as an independent candidate, which would imply that he is not properly so-called a member of the NDC, despite the fact that he caucuses with the NDC in Parliament. He has been working very hard. I think anyone who has followed his work in the past 1 and almost half year would testify to the fact that he works so hard, goes to the farms, relates with his constituents very well. I think the people seem to like him a lot over there. I also think that his election over the incumbent Honorable Apia could be also a very respectable, lawyer and seasoned politician, is a demonstration of the people's confidence in him over there. So to have him caught in this sort of situation, where the people are denied that representation, the people are denied the drive for development, which he represented for them, is very unfortunate. And so I wish him well. I think that on matters of accusations of wrongdoing, it is when the charges start coming, the prosecution starts making his case and the defense starts responding, that we begin to know the real merits of the issue. As of now, it's just matters we have in the air. And the thing I would want to comment on is a matter of the dealing of the United States, with the Republic of Ghana on matters of extradition and arrest of Ghanaian citizens. I think that formal extradition processes, exist between Ghana
and the US.
And the US. And the Interior plays a critical role in that. I am just wondering why, in this particular instance, it does not appear as though formal processes were initiated, to express some interest in him as a person of investigative interest, to the United States. But a warrant was issued for his arrest, and it almost appears as though there was some ambush, when he was transiting through an airport. It raises questions that I think that we need to look at. Why the United States would do that, especially because he is an official of the government of Ghana, a member of parliament representing people in this country. So if there's any interest in his person, I would think that the usual formal processes that they follow, are used. Indeed, our compliance with those processes have raised so many questions in this country. When you have some citizens saying that we have been complying anytime the US makes requests, but when the case of Akufo-Addo came, it looks like they are not in a haste to repatriate Akufo-Addo here, which shows that the compliance on the side of Ghana is without question. And so why would they decide to do that? I think it's a serious question.
Well, because his lawyers have said that, there aren't any charges yet. So I'd have loved to peel back to some of the things you read on the Department of Justice page and all of that. And all of that. But
my concern is a matter of
let me allow
exercise of sovereignty and state relations.
Okay.
That is what my concern is really about. That if you have an interest in a state official, I think that should be expressed.
Kwesi.
I would start from the premise that honorable members of society are expected of a certain standard. Currently, we do not know the exact reason for which he's been arrested. I have also heard what you just read, that he's been arrested in relation to some financial crimes amounting to $215 million or so. That's the speculation I have also heard, but we cannot speak to the speculation. But the point I want to make is that honorable members are expected of a certain standard. And so at all material times, they need to hold themselves in accordance with the standards expected of them
Are you tired?
by society.
Yes, can you speak up? Yes.
Because you've not allowed me to speak on it.
You're sad.
I
think you should stay in the sadness. Keep the voice lower.
I feel my right to freedom of speech is being pursued by Emefa of
So you go under the provision 208.
Unfortunately, you don't have state power to
Anyway, quickly before you even round up, just to so we reached out to the State Department of Justice by an email.
Joy News,
yes, we did, and then it's the reason you're sitting here, by the way. And our research team did that on behalf of us, and then they have officially declined to speak particularly on the charges.
Okay.
They have officially declined.
How about the reason for arrest?
In fact, we specifically asked about, if you go on my journal, because of time, if you go on my journal, we have published the email, a copy of the email, question that we asked, and then their responses. But they've just refused to.
So, Emefa, on this matter, I would not say much, except to say that it's a very huge loss to the majority caucus of Parliament, because we all know he was doing business with the majority caucus of Parliament. In fact, the majority chief whip has come out to explain the issues and to confirm that the member of Parliament was arrested for offences related to international financial fraud. And so the majority caucus, I see them as a bit, saddened by the situation. We sympathize with them. But like I said, and I'll reiterate again, that honorable members are expected of a certain conduct. But let's wait. Let's all be calm. Let's not engage in speculations. Let's wait for the processes to go on. I am sure, in fact, the Honorable Chief Whip, I heard him on one of your sister stations, Adom TV, Adom TV or Adom FM, saying that they have officially written to the FBI and the Department of Justice in the US for an official correspondence and an official report as to why a member of the NDC caucus has been arrested for romance scam and financial fraud. And so we await the response that may come therefrom. So I would not want to engage in speculation. And
okay.
So I will not say much on this matter.
This you're not saying much.
Oh yeah, I'm a
Prof, please, because we all agree that the charges are not known. I want you to speak when you speak to that, and you quickly go on into the 7.7% increase in our economy. What that means to us.
I agree with my colleagues that all these are matters in the air. But from the majority's point of view, it's been detained because of international financial issues.
Prof, can you speak up for me?
We are here to know the matters. These are evolving stories. Very soon we get to know, we have clarity on the issue. So we don't need to have broader discussions on this. But the point is that an MP is not just a politician. If you're an MP, you're not only just a politician. You carry the image of Parliament. You carry the hope of a constituency. You also represent Ghana internationally. So if you have an MP who is entangled in these discussions, this issue that we mentioned, it's no more about legality. It's also about borders on morality as well. So we need to be clear with those issues. And the desire to have by-election should tell those who are occupying positions. If care is not taken, if you are sitting there, be careful, because something happens in a few minutes, we'll get someone to represent you. If you are sick or you are involved in such a situation, in no time we'll get someone to represent you. But then we also end on this note that asset declaration and lifestyle audit by my colleague who alluded to that, very important. Our president made mention of asset declaration of all the ministers. I don't know where we got into. If I don't know, you have an idea. Was part of the campaign promises.
Yeah, some of the few people that didn't declare, there were sanctions that have been.
Did you chance on the sanctions?
I think there were a few months of salary withholding. I can look that up for you.
Honestly.
Yeah, so they have all declared now?
They have all now declared at the time.
We need to be interested in that. Lifestyle audit, asset declaration. Before you take over an office, we should know your position. And interesting, someone was also asking me, if you are balanced and then add their liability to it, let us know their liability before they take over. But, let's debunk that. But the point is that if we had done some of these things before the lifestyle, some of these things would not even raise its ugly head.
Prof, I'm so heartbroken that we're unable to talk about the growth in the economy, the 7.7.
But the issues are very simple.
Okay.
That indicator, it is an early signal. When something is about to happen, they normally do that survey. It's a good thing, there's expansion. But I have a few issues with that. When did you have that? If it's a signal, now a lag of 3 months, you have to tell us what is going to happen when you release your quarterly report. But this was done some months ago, 3 months lag. And look at the breakdown of the sector. They mention agric, they mention manufacturing industry, and the service. There's another part, indirect tax. Is it a sector?
Prof, what I'm going to do...
Making the 7.7, is it a sector? Let's interrupt.
We'll advocate for next week, I promise.
You
so that we'll break it. Yeah.
Agric.
Yeah.
Service.
Agric mining and all of that. The time
Making
is up, unfortunately.
But there's
Today, 7 to 10.
tax. Tax is not a sector.
I
don't know, it should come.
Prof, I promise, we'll go into this report detail next week, I promise.
But we have a program today at 4 p.m.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. You're all invited. Prof is inviting you.
Okay, I saw his yesterday.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Prof.
Can I wish somebody
Thank you so much, Anthony. Yes, thank you so much,
I want to
lawyer.
wish somebody who is very dear to my heart.
Quickly.
Madam Angela Eje Boateng, the wife of Kobne Dubois.
Okay.
Today's his birthday.
Okay, happy birthday to you.
I want to wish him
a
happy birthday. She's a very good woman.
Okay.
Last year during
happy birthday.
My time, Nasa. Okay, that's fine.
In Kainobe Timiatro WhatsApp, Facebook page.
You are lucky we didn't.
But thank you so much. Happy birthday to Mrs. Grace Akosua Coleman, HR Department, Local Government. Special wishes from your husband, Reverend Coleman of Perez Chapel. Thank you so much to all those who are celebrating their birthdays. Please do make a date with us later today at Labadi Beach for the Impact Makers Awards. I'll see you there. Thank you so much for watching. Please stay for Joy News Desk.
Welcome to Sulas Enterprise, the shop that deals in industrial machinery such as generators, rice millers, water pumps, compressors, and